On my third day, like cycle.
Yes, so you could do a supported bridge if you can just do the Baddha Konasana. Yeah. Yeah, great. All right, well, still have 4 more minutes technically.
Are you announced?
What?
What happened this week?
Okay.
I found a 50-acre out in the desert by Overby.
Oh, wow.
It's like 8 minutes from Overby. It's like 20 minutes from Esplanade.
Wow.
40 minutes from Taos. It's so cool. I love the desert. First of all, my grandparents lived in the desert when I was a kid, so I used to be out there. And also, I love the desert, so I went to college in Tucson.
Okay.
Like, I enjoyed
Like
the desert.
the heat, the dry,
And I just, and just being able to, like, these wide expanses and being able to see the mountains. And there's a few houses around the outsides of the property, but it's 50 acres. It has 2 houses on it.
Okay.
It has like a main house and what they call a casita, which is like a 2-bedroom, 1 bath. So I was like, Stella, she's like, let's go, I'm ready to move. She's like, I'm ready to get out of here. It's got this giant, like my dream, like a big giant, like garage workshop, like 2,000 square feet.
Right.
So we can have this like giant place. There's a whole other room, which looks to be about building, it looks to be about 800 square feet. It's all white drywall with, it's like an art gallery.
Uh-huh.
And then there's another building, which is like, I think, storage.
Okay.
And then, and so.
So
the
loads of
question-
possibilities with like these other buildings, right? That you could turn them into
Potentially.
spaces for gathering or for,
Right.
yeah.
Or there's a lot of property if it's possible to, if it's allowed, I'm gonna get some information. Our realtor's kind of asking some questions, trying to find out, like, can we build other things on it? Can we build a series of cabins on there?
Well, I wonder if there's hot springs there, right? Like, can you dig?
There's no water. Because the hot springs, I think, comes through the creek. Like, because all the cabins is like on the river.
Okay.
So I think typically it comes through a waterway. It's just geothermal below it. So this is just real desert. But I'm super, like, I was immediately like, oh yeah, I'm gonna go live in the desert. I'm out of here. Like, I'm not gonna be in the city anymore. It's only 5 hours.
Right. Oh, no, that's a great. I've made that drive a bazillion times in 8 minutes from Oakville.
I know.
Amazing.
I was like, oh, I could go to Oakville and take everything.
Exactly.
Like, I don't need hot water on my.
That's right.
It took me 8 minutes to get even to walk there.
That's right.
I just dropped it all.
Right.
So I don't know. We'll see if the universe thinks this is a good idea as I do.
Mm-hmm.
And things go how they're supposed to do. They work out either way.
That's right.
But it's got me thinking.
Would you move your situation? I mean, I guess,
I
just
just run my
like-
business. I still run my business. I just run it remotely. And if Stella's down there, she does a certain part of her business. I'm like, listen, we'll just work like 2-3 hours a day and we'll be done. We'll just make art.
Yeah.
We'll go and Heidi's like, oh, we could do a labyrinth out there.
Yeah,
So I look around our
for
property,
sure.
there's a big labyrinth. There's already a labyrinth on the property, a stone labyrinth.
Right.
And it's like, it's just, it's pretty neat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I mean, you could grow all kinds of citrus trees and there's all kinds of stuff.
I wonder, I'm curious what it is, because there's not much around there. There is a tree in front, by the front door, by the entry of the house. There's a reasonably sized tree. So I don't know how it all works, but, and it says that it's in 3 parcels, which makes me wonder if there's like already availability for more well permits and things like that. Like if building becomes an option. Anyway.
It's exciting.
How fun is that?
So yeah, Kundalini yoga. It's the Kundalini yoga in Mexico. Yeah, here we go.
Yeah. Well, I was also, thinking, Ojo Caliente, they do workshops and stuff.
Exactly.
They do yoga every day. I don't know, but so there's room for, maybe there's room for Ivy to do breath work.
Exactly.
Maybe I can do some qigong once in a while.
Exactly.
Like there's things we can do potentially. But if I'm running my business, I don't need to I don't need to make any more money.
Right.
I just need to have the freedom to do the other stuff I want.
Exactly.
Just like to make stuff, build stuff. That's what I want to do. Wouldn't it be fun?
Yeah.
Build like sauna and cold plunge and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, and then if you have cabins, people can definitely come and stay, and you do your retreats there. Right.
Or like, it's reasonably, it's 6,300 feet, so there's some winter.
Yeah.
But it's not like being in Fairplay or something.
Exactly. Where you're digging out feet of
It's
snow.
like 20 feet, well, not last winter, but those winters, 15, 20 feet of snow up there. So I'm sell that place. Anyway, we'll see. I gotta go on vacation and think about it.
Good. I'm so excited. I love that. I love your inspiration. All right, here we go. We're gonna start. Let's just arrive in our seat here. So find a comfortable seat. Maybe you rock back and forth in your sits bones. I'm in a squeaky spot. And meeting ourselves where we are, allowing the places where we've been this morning inside of ourselves and out in the world to fall away, connecting with your breath and noticing where your body is at this moment. Taking a few breaths, noticing the quality of your breath. Noticing where the breath feels spacious, generous. And noticing maybe where the breath doesn't have quite as much room. Just keep meeting yourself right where you are in this moment. Allow your lower body to be connected to the earth and allow the crown of the head to reach up tall. There was a ribbon. Lifting you, lengthening your spine. Feeling the rootedness and the rise. Let's go ahead and tune in. Bring our hands to heart. We will tune in with Om Namo Buddhaya Namo, rubbing our palms together. We're going to bow to the divine wisdom, the teachers, and the teachings that carry us from darkness to light, from unconsciousness to consciousness. So bringing our thumbs to our sternum, lifting our heart to meet our hands. And inhale. And exhale. And inhale to chant. Om Namo Buddhaya Namo. Two more times. Om Namo Buddhaya Namo. Om Namo Gurudeva Namo. Taking a nice inhale. Holding the breath for a moment, lifting up on the pelvic floor, really pressing the palms together. And release the hands down. Exhale. So we're going to start our warm up on our backs. And our class today is dedicated to the 10th body, the radiant body, which is all about our courage and our creativity. So, starting in the back, we're going to start with some self-awakening yoga. So, first, feel yourself connected to the earth, like you were laying on a big slab of desert clay, warm desert clay, let your bones sink into the clay. And then like you're pushing on a gas pedal, start to rock your heels back and forth. So rocking your heels. It's like you're pressing on a gas pedal with both feet. And see if you can start to find a little rock in your whole body. Just press, 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 rock, rock, rock. You might need to pick up the pace a little bit. Starting to rock and jiggle yourself open here. And you may not move much, and that's okay. Let's see if you can soften into this movement of rocking the heels, pressing the balls of the feet forward and back. And then come to stillness and notice. Notice any sensations. Maybe you notice pulsing or tingling. Taking a nice full inhale and exhale. And then we'll start to bounce the right leg. So kind of like you're dribbling a basketball, like your knee, you're dribbling a basketball. Just bounce, bounce, bounce. Leaving the heel on the floor, just bouncing that knee. Bounce, bounce, bounce. This is just a gentle way of opening up the body. Bounce, bounce, bounce the right knee. Noticing you might feel a little awkward. Might not feel like anything's happening. Whatever you're noticing is fine. It's perfect for this moment. Bounce, 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 bounce. And then come to stillness. Taking a nice full inhale and exhale. Maybe noticing the right leg and the left leg, noticing any difference. Again, noticing these sensations. Maybe there's pulsing or tingling or swishing. And then we'll bounce the left leg. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Breathing as you bounce. Breathing in and out. Bounce, 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 bounce. And then come to stillness. Take a moment to notice, breathing in, breathing out. Noticing the quality of your legs, your lower body, and the connection to the floor. And we'll move up into our arms, so we'll bend at the elbow with our hand up towards the ceiling. And you're just going to bounce the bicep, so the top part of the arm on the floor. Not the elbow, but that upper arm. Just bounce, bounce, bounce. Let the hand relax. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Noticing it might be awkward, especially if this isn't your dominant arm. And then come to stillness. And you're going to flick your wrist like you're flicking something sticky off your fingers. Flick, flick, flick. Flick, flick, flick. your arm down by your side. Take a moment to notice what is the quality of the arm, any sensations. Just feeling the energy moving through your arm. We'll move over to the left side. Again, just bounce, bounce, bounce the top part of the left arm. Bounce, bounce, bounce. You can bounce it up, you can bounce it down. And then come to stillness and flick the wrist. Flick, flick, flick. Really flick that wrist. Flick, flick. And bring that arm down by your side. Take a moment to notice. Left arm, right arm, right leg, left leg. And then we're going to give ourselves a big hug. So bring your elbows up to the ceiling and draw the hands back behind the shoulders and rock right and left. Let the head follow. As you rock, you can bring one shoulder up. Give yourself a nice hug as you rock back and forth. Head follow. And then come to center. We'll switch out the arms. Opposite elbow on top. And give yourself a hug and a rock. Good. Bring your arms back down by your side. Take a breath. And we'll bring the feet to the floor with your knees bent. And we'll just jiggle the pelvis here. So you're just gonna bump, bump, bump. Lightly tapping the pelvis. You're not even really lifting very far up. Maybe like a centimeter or two. Just bounce, bounce, bounce. On the sacrum. Bounce, bounce, bounce. Come to stillness. Take a nice full inhale and exhale and notice energy moving. Just noticing what's happening for you. Beautiful. All right, we're going to come into a dynamic bridge pose here. So inhaling your arms up overhead as you lift your hips up. And then exhale, bring the palms back down by the hips as you bring your hips back to the floor. So inhaling, lifting the hips, arms all the way up overhead to the floor behind you. And then exhale, hips down, hands on your hips. Inhaling and exhaling, going at your own pace. You can lift your hips as high or as low as feels good in your body. Okay, 3 more. Sorry, man, music. All right, come to stillness. I'm disconnected from the speakers now. Let's find our way into, just bring your knees into your chest. And we'll rock and roll the length of our spine. Eventually coming up to seated. All right, let's do a few twists here. So inhale your arms up and then exhale, just come into a twist here. Just bring your right hand to your left knee and maybe bring that left arm up overhead. Let's inhale, arms up overhead, and left hand to right knee and bring that right arm overhead. A couple more times, just find your own rhythm here. Twisting and bending. Inhaling and exhaling as you. You're not close enough, Rick, I guess. You're not close enough to me to make this work. All right, let's come over on our hands and knees. And let's do some calf stretches. So reach that right foot back, stretching the back of the leg, calf, coming in and out of the stretch. Working with your breath, inhaling, exhaling. Let's lift that right leg and bring it over across the body. And a little side stretch, look over your shoulder to your foot. Come back through center, we'll do that on the other side. Reach the left leg back. Move forward and back, inhaling and exhaling, like opening up the back. When you're ready, you can lift and crosses to the body and look to the side. Come back to hands and knees. Curl the toes under. We're going to lift up into down dog. Pedal out your dog. Find a way to bring some movement into your down dog. Really wrapping those upper arms down towards the floor. Lifting your hips high. Maybe your knees are bent. Lift your low back. 3 or 4 breaths here. You can keep moving or you can find stillness. Really stretching the backs of the legs. Starting to open up the low back. Let's inhale our heels high. Exhale, heels down to the ground. 3 more times. Inhale, heels high. Exhale. Reach your heels towards the earth. One more. Walk our hands back to our feet, into a forward fold. Grab opposite elbows. Let your head hang heavy. Again, feel free to bend your knees. Shake your head yes and no. Good. Press your hands into your bones as you roll up to standing. Come into goddess pose here. We're going to find eagle arms. So you can either come back into that hug or bring your right elbow under your left. And we'll come into our goddess pose. So come down. And stay here. If you want to join me, we can do a little rotation here. So exhaling, inhaling as you come up, exhaling as you come down. Going at your own pace, inhaling and exhaling. Good. Let's change directions. Inhaling and exhaling. Opening up the shoulders, the upper back. Good. One more. Lift your arms high. And release the arms down. Let's do opposite. Elbow on top. So left under, right on top. We'll do that again. Come down low. You're welcome to stay here. You can go ahead and circle. Exhaling as you come down, inhaling as you come up. Really focusing on that back body, that space behind our hearts. The 10th body is all about courageousness. It's about pushing beyond our own limits, switching directions. All those preconceptions that we might have of ourselves, the limitations that we put on ourselves, when we allow others, our culture, our family, social constructs come to center. And release. One more pose in our warm-up. We will come into Prasarita. So feet wide, you guys can turn towards the plants. Hands on hips. Let's draw our elbows together behind us. Lift our hearts and chins. And then fold forward. Bring your hands down to the floor. Or if you want to open up the chest a little bit more, you can clasp the arms behind you and reach your hands up overhead. Really pressing into the outer edges of your feet. Drawing your chin to your chest. Opening the backs of the legs. Let your head hang heavy. Let's take one more nice full inhale and exhale. Bring your arms in front, come into a halfway lift. Really lengthen the spine and bring the hands to the hips. Press through the feet. Bring yourself up to standing. All right. We're going to come down now to our mats. And we're going to start this Kriya for the 10th body, the radiant body. So the radiant body is all about commitment. Challenges with the 10th body cause energy fluctuations. And when our radiant body is strong, we are committed. We're committed to spiritual practices, to our relationships, our work, our family, our dharma. The 10th body, the radiant body, is also governed by the hair, which is why the yogis like to grow their hair. It protects the auric field. Our eyebrows protect our arc line. Our armpit hair protects the lymph and breast tissue. The lower body hair protects our magnetic field. And strengthening the radiant body is all about defying doubt. So really allowing ourselves to be creative and courageous, even beyond what we think we can, so that we can shine from the inside out. So we'll start with just a clearing and energizing breath. We're going to close off the left nostril. You can bring your right hand into Gyan Mudra. And it's a long, slow breath here to start with. So breathing in through the right nostril, long, slow, deep breathing. This is our solar channel, our sun, radiance.
Where you go, my darling daughter? I'm gonna live down by the water. If I could find the time, no reason or rhyme. I'm gonna live down by the water.
Have your eyes closed, gaze with your eye.
And I'm gonna send a dozen roses.
Take a nice full
Down
inhale.
like baby Moses.
Pause the breath.
And I'll wash my
Bring the
tears
left hand
away.
down.
Down in the river today.
Hold for a moment.
Gonna send a
And then exhale through both nostrils. We'll bring the right hand up to the left, to the right nostril, and we'll breathe in and out through the left. Long, slow, deep breathing.
To be your one and only. When the days are lost and lonely, and the little blue birds of spring
Allow this breath to
to sing
settle your system.
testimony.
Left side is our lunar side, our receptive side. So allowing yourself to just rest into this breath.
Sing a little song, darling. Sing it like a little blue starling. In the country or the town, miles all around. Sing a little song, darling. Now the days are getting harder. I'm gonna live down by the water.
Nice, full inhale
If
through the left
I
nostril.
could find the time,
Hold and pause. Bring that right hand down. And exhale through both nostrils. And we'll close off the left again. And this time we're going to do breath of fire through the right nostril. So go ahead and start. And if breath of fire isn't working through one nostril, you can always do it through both, or you can continue with long, slow, deep breath. Activating our solar, cleansing, radiant, fiery qualities. Nice full inhale. Hold, squeeze, pause for a moment. Release. Let's take a nice full inhale here. And exhale. We'll come into rock pose. We'll do spinal flex. So you can stay seated, or if you're okay on your knees. You can always put a blanket between your shins and your heels. Just here for 1 minute. So bring your hands to the tops of your thighs and inhale forward, exhale down. Find your own rhythm. Slow is good. Find your own rhythm. Connecting breath and movement. be softly closed. And focus at your third eye, space between your eyebrows. Listen to your own breath. Nice full inhale. Pause. And exhale. So now we're going to do Sat Kriya. Of course, you can modify the arms. The arms are overhead. We've got a steeple grip here. So fingers are clasped. The first finger is pointed out. Biceps are by the ears. And of course, if you need to modify, you can bring your hands down to the top of your head or even bring your hands to heart center. And we'll be here for three minutes. So we're going to Sat, draw our belly in, and Nam, bring that energy right out your third eye. Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam. Focus at your third eye. Sat, Nam. You're drawing that energy right up from the base of the body up to the third eye, and then letting that energy move right out into the universe. Sat. Truth is my identity. Sat, Nam, 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 Sat, Nam. Allow the shoulders drop away from the ears, relax. Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat, Nam, Sat. Let this be what you need, gentle or forceful. Nam, Sat, 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 Nam, Sat. Beautiful. Almost there. Nam, Sat, 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 Nam, Sat. Imagining the energy right up the spine for all the chakras, right out the third eye. Nam, Sat, 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 Nam, Sat. Taking a nice full inhale, keep the arms up overhead. Hold, pause, unless you're breathing. Exhale, keep the arms up overhead. Inhale again. Squeeze, hold, pause. And release the mudra, press the air away, press the energy away. Bring the hands down, rest your tops of your hands on your legs just for a moment. Let the energy settle. Come around onto your hands and knees. I'm going to come into cat-cow. We'll be here for 2 minutes, so if you want something under your knees. And again, find your pace. Inhaling, dropping the belly, exhale, inhale, stretching the front surface of the body, exhale, really pressing up to the sky with the back of the heart. Find your rhythm, listening to the sound of your breath.
Everybody's gonna be, yeah, yeah. You've already got the breathe, yeah. Close your eyes and come see her, yeah, yeah. Don't you worry about a thing.
Let yourself get lost in this movement. Breath and movement. And the repetition and the rhythm serve you. Meeting yourself where you are. Letting the commitments to doing something for 2 minutes feel really good. Almost there. Inhale, come to center. Pause, hold. And then exhale, bring yourself back into child's pose. Knees wide, toes touch. Lift your forehead. Rest on the ground, or you can make a pillow with your hands. Let your forehead rest. Breathing into the back body. Stretch your back. Very nice full inhales and exhales. Lift yourself up. This is the part of our practice where we're either going to come into plow pose, or you're going to come into legs up the wall, or a supported bridge, or supine pose. So there's lots of options here. If you want, bring a blanket underneath your hips. You're going to come into plow pose.
I'm not sure.
So halasana
Where's
is.
the plow pose? Is that the shoulder?
So we're going to go right from plow pose into shoulder stand, or just you can have a supported bridge pose. So plow pose is actually where your feet come back. And we're going to do a long deep breath. So you would go from plow pose into shoulder stand. So you can actually go to the wall if you want, or we can just, do feet up the wall in the middle of the room. And if you're choosing the feet up the wall option, or you can come into bridge. And if you're choosing the feet up the wall option, you can bring your fingers into Gyan Mudra, and we'll post your arms. And it's long, slow, deep breaths here. So wherever you are, let yourself really rest into this. It's really about the heart opening and the inversion, so we don't have to get crazy here. Allowing the front of your throat to soften. Allowing your chest to gently open. It's really allowing the energy to really come and settle into your center. Long, deep breath. Beautiful work. 30 more seconds. Feel that inner radiance. All that creative energy pulling right in your creative center, your womb center. And then have a creative center too. Just allowing all that courageous, creative, conscious energy to have a place to settle around. Three more breaths here. If you're at the wall, you can gently bring the soles of your feet together, if that works for you, or just bend at the knees. If you're in the middle of the room, you can bring your feet down to the floor and allow your knees to bend. Coming into constructive rest pose. If you're in bridge pose, you can stay right where you are, and you can allow your knees to knot together. Take one more nice full breath here. We'll come out of the pose. We're going to come onto our bellies into locust pose. So finding your way over onto your side, slowly coming up. And we're going to be in locust pose here for 2 minutes. So finding a way, you can either come with your palms down underneath your hips. You can really just have your hands, the tops of your hands by the side of your body, or if you want, you can bring the biceps by the ears. So we're going to come from laying down here to lifting our torso and our feet up off of the mat. And we're going to come into breath of fire. And if you need to come in and out of the pose, do that. Stick with the breath. We'll start. Here we go. Breath of fire. It's totally fine to rest the tops of your hands on the mat. Just keep imagining breath of fire and then lift. You can lift the front part of your body or the legs. And leave the torso down and decide what works for your body today. Gaze to the third eye. Be gentle with your low back. Maybe you smile.
Sunny, yesterday my life was filled with rain. Sunny,
More than halfway there.
you smiled at me and really
30 more seconds.
now the dark days are done and the bright days are here. My sunny one shines so sweet.
Feel your sunniness.
Sunny one so true. I love you. Sunny, thank you for the sunshine you gave. Sunny, thank you for the love on my way.
Nice full inhale. Stretch. Lift. Pause your breath. And exhale. Bring yourself down. You can take a little pillow with your palms next to your head. Allow yourself to soften into the earth here. Maybe you waggle your hips a little bit.
Thank you for the facts from A to Z. My life is torn like the wind blown sail. Then a rug was formed.
With the work.
Sunny one switch.
Nice full inhale and exhale. Press yourself up. We're going to come into tiger pose, tiger stretch. So I don't know if there's a hatha yoga pose like this. It's kind of like pigeon. But you're sitting on your right heel with your left leg stretched behind. This is a great place for blocks. And if this does not work for you, you can always come into rock pose or even sukhasana. But really the point here is lifting the heart, opening the throat, and we're going to come into long, deep breath. So you put your hands to blocks here, opening the chest. Long, deep breath. Through the nose, out through the nose. Opening the heart, opening the throat. Feeling that tiger, that inner tiger, that courageous part of us that can do hard things, that does hard things all the time, even when we think we can't. And how good we feel, how radiant, how expansive we feel after we do those things. Breathing in, fill, hold, stretch, and relax. Switch sides. Whatever that works in your body, use your hands and knees. And lifting, long, deep breath. Shoulders away from the ears, throat open, heart lifted to the sky. Be kind to your low back, so find a way that you can be here for the next 30 seconds. No injuries. Discomfort is okay, but not pain. My view always says there's no Kundalini yoga police. So do what works for you. Just imagine like this wallpaper on the back wall. We're channeling our inner tiger, courageous, royal, radiant, connected part of ourselves. Also, nice full inhale, stretch, hold, and release. So this is the big part of our class. We're going to come into archer pose for 2 minutes on each side with breath of fire. So long deep breath is good. For anybody, long deep breath is good. So right foot forward, left leg back. Sorry about the music, you guys. All right, here we go. So right hand forward, bend into that right knee. Start with bringing that left hand forward. Bend the fingertips to the pads with the thumbs up. And then draw that arrow back. And breath of fire or long deep breath. You can bounce a little bit if that feels good. Or you can stay static. Really feeling yourself here in this present moment with your eye on the future. Bringing that courageousness, that clarity, that strength with yourself into the future. Strong breath, strong legs, strong heart. And take care of yourself if you need to come out. Let's see if you can commit. More than halfway through. I can, I will, I am. We're doing it. Bring a smile to your face. Take a nice inhale. Stay in the position. Hold, pause, lift up on your pelvic floor. Just imagine that you're shooting your courageous self into the future and let go of that arrow. Up to the top of your mat. Take a moment. Bring your hands to your heart and just notice. All right. Moving to the left foot forward, right foot back, those arms in front. There we go. Draw that arrow back, feeling your strength, feel yourself right in this present moment, heart connected, and breath of fire. Feeling your root, feeling your strength. Strong breath. strong, stable foundation. Committed to yourself in this moment, your breath, staying true. Removing the blocks, anything that keeps us in that part of ourselves that can do it. No matter what anybody says or what we think, moving beyond our perceived limitations. Shoulders away from your ears, face soft, maybe you're even smiling. Enjoy this. You got this. Almost there. Let yourself feel that inner confidence, that inner strength. Ten more seconds. Deep inhale. Hold the position. Pause. Squeeze, lift. Exhale, release that load. To the top of the mat. Stand to Tadasana for a moment. Palms facing forward. Feeling that radiance. Allowing all your light to flood through your heart. Shining forward. Let's come down to our mats. Laying down, coming into final rest pose. Really make yourself comfortable here. Maybe you put that bolster underneath your knees. Maybe put the blanket underneath your head. Really give yourself a moment to set yourself up here. Give yourself permission to let everything go. Really let your bones be heavy. Again, coming back to that desert, earth, warm clay slab. As if your bones could make an imprint. That you're living right here on the earth. Your eyes soften, your sockets, your face soften. Jaw relax, your tongue rest with your mouth.
shine upon you. All love surround you. And your light within you. Guide your way on. Guide your way on. Guide your way
New Bear Singh Khalsa says, commitment builds character, character builds dignity, dignity builds divinity, divinity brings you grace, grace brings the power to sacrifice, and the power to sacrifice brings happiness. Allow your breath to deepen. Some gentle movement into your fingers and your toes. Give yourself a nice, good afternoon stretch. Arms up overhead. Stretching the left side and the right side. Bring your knees into your chest. Come over up to your side. Allow yourself to rest there for a moment. Giving yourself this moment of being held. And notice one thing that you're grateful for. In this moment, one thing you're grateful for. When you're ready, press yourself up to the seat. We'll close with a long sat and a short nam. Bringing your palms together at your heart. May the nourishment of the earth be yours. May the clarity of light be yours. May the fluency of the oceans be yours. May the protection of the ancestors be yours. And so may a soft wind wrap these words of love around you like a cloak to light your life. Take a breath in and out. And we'll inhale to chant. Blessings on your day. Allow yourselves to be creative and courageous. Thanks for coming. Now. Thanks for coming. How's everybody doing? Good. Good.
Yeah, that was great. Thank you.
Okay, good. You're welcome. Thanks for showing up. There's a lot going on. I was listening to an astrology podcast on the way here, and she was calling this week ahead the reckoning. I was like, oh, okay.
What did she say?
I know, she's like, just another week, we're in the crucible, you know? She's like, I'm calling this the crucible. I was like, okay.
Did she say why?
Cool.
Why?
I can't track all of the details, but you know, it's Jupiter, and I mean, Mercury's gone direct, so that's shifted things in a positive way, but there's just still a lot of energy of
A
like,
lot of stuff is coming from
Well,
like
that's
20 years ago.
That's what they say is like right now there's a lot of old patterns that are being, you know, that we're just being called to transform relationships and
Or I think the heat of the summer too is just like here to like burn away,
exactly.
to really transform the stuff that's been hidden.
That's what it feels like. Yeah.
I
We're
feel
just,
like can't escape.
it's like we're kind of like in a kiln, right? Yeah.
So when we were in class, there's this like cord or attachment with my sister that I felt, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I've got to move this. And I think it's probably just a lesson I've been working with my sister for a while.
Yeah.
So,
Yay. Yay that is coming up.
but you don't notice it until you notice it, you know, and then when you notice it, you're like, oh my god, get this off of me. That makes sense, huh?
Yeah. All right, you want a big journey? What time you guys fly like in day tomorrow?
Yeah, it's like 6,
Yeah.
6:30 tomorrow, so
So you guys go.
I have morning jobs for a few hours a week with my team. Then I've got, my mom, help her get some of her stuff, she's staying in our house. Yeah, so, we'll be here.
Ouch.
Sorry, I'm getting messed up.
No, there's no rush. I'm gonna go to my granddaughter's swim lesson, but
Oh,
it doesn't start
wonderful.
till 2, so I have time.
That's great. Where is she learning her? Is it outdoors or indoors?
It's indoors. It's like one of those. It's kind of weird. It's one of those like swim school places, and
Fancy places?
but she was so averse to getting in the water
Oh, yeah.
that my daughter felt like someplace where it was like private and
Yeah, you gotta be,
you know, kind of contained. So it's been great. So she's like, she'll be ready soon for a group rec center class.
yeah.
How's your second week back at work?
It's good. I have a really good preceptor. I'm having to let go of a lot because she said, you're starting over. I haven't been in the hospital already for 3 years. And it's very humbling because I'm on med surg. I'm an experienced nurse, but I gotta let all that go. You know? It's a whole new thing. And she's like, you're resisting it. She's like, you just need to let that go and you're starting over. I'm like, yeah, I am. It's not easy.
Let it be fresh, but it's hard, right, when we're adults, you know, well into our, you know, midlife. So-
And she has, I know, she's got more experience. She's gone to
many different jobs and many different roles. And so she has more practice in that. And I thought I could just start this rest. You're going back to basics. As we do. I feel like we're really bad at it. Or someone's doing it. So, get a flag, feel safe. It's easier to find because I forget stuff.
Yeah,
It's okay.
yeah.
That's the kind of, yeah, that's good. That's the kind of stuff that we do. That's like, I don't think I can do that. Just, that's it. That's something that I
I was like, where's my necklace? It's like, better be in this room. Find it. Oh, you. I left it there. Great. And grab a couple of blocks too. Thank you. Great. Grab 2 blocks also, and a blanket. making yourself at home.
And then you'd be like, where did I?
Yeah, that's what I.
So I wanted to start just by having us kind of brainstorm, like cues. Okay? So we've talked about like how to cue, and I've said, you want to be commanding in your cues. And instead of saying like ing words, right, we're gonna just use the word itself. So instead of like lifting your arm to the sky, just say lift your arm to the sky, right? Now, if I were to say lift your arm to the sky, would you do that on an inhale or an exhale? Inhale, right? That's fairly standard, straightforward. If I were to have you bring your hands back to heart center, would that be an inhale or exhale?
Exhale.
Inhale. You could argue really for both if you wanted to, but most likely it's probably an exhale because your arms have come from an extended position, right? So you would inhale, extend out, and exhale, come in, okay? So if I'm gonna say, so what are some other words for like lift? Like let's say we're going from downward dog to lunge. Okay, let's just take into consideration that we're teaching a class where everybody can do that easily, right? What would be your cue? Or what are some words that you could say that would indicate they need to take their foot from the floor up towards the sky? Lift, right? I'm just gonna put the word, like the verb. So lift, I heard someone say raise. What else?
Extend your leg up and back.
Extend. What else?
Move.
Move, sure, move works. Take works. Inhale. Inhale up. Sure. Okay. So you're not gonna say all of these, right? You're just gonna pick one. And that's gonna convey everything. Now, you could pick the same one all the way through, but you're probably gonna get tired of that. And so same thing, we wanna create like a little word bank, right? So I can say lift, I can say extend, I could say take. And now it doesn't sound like I'm just rotely telling you what I've memorized from my script, but I'm watching your bodies and I'm listening to my own words, right? I'm not just saying it because I wrote it down that way, okay? What about like if you're gonna go from now three-legged dog to lunge, what would you say?
Bring your foot up to the front.
Bring, there's your verb there. This one's not any better, but. Bring, what else?
Step.
Step, awesome. What else? Place.
Carry.
Carry, sure. Okay, now you're going from someplace to someplace else, right? So you're just gonna name that. Take your foot from the floor up to the sky. Draw is another one. Draw it through to the top of your mat. Bring it through to the top of your mat. Place it at the top of your mat. This is kind of what Natalie was saying. Yes, it is telling somebody what to do, but I guarantee you they're not gonna be sad about it. But they want to know.
Teach me, 'cause that's what I want.
They want to know how I'm supposed to do that and what's the easiest way to do that, right? Everybody wants the easiest way to do anything. Now, given certain populations, what if you were with people who can't do lunge? Have you run across this when you're teaching?
Yeah.
Yeah, what'd you do?
Yeah, I think it was both of my parents. Like, they couldn't move their foot to the front. So I basically was just like, well, you can get there however you want to get there.
Yeah.
And just give extra time for him to figure that out.
And feel free to
Walk
grab
to
your
your-
grab your hand and help yourself move it.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
What'd you say, Katie?
Walk to the front of your mat.
Totally. You can come at it from a totally different way, right? What I do when I see somebody come in, and honestly, it is a little bit of a judgment, but we're making judgments all the time, right? When I am watching people walk in, and like when I'm walking into a class at first, I'm judging them. I'm like, who can do what I want to do in this room? And how do I modify for the people who can't? And if I notice that there are a majority of people who can't do the whole lift your leg to the top of the mat thing, which is actually a fairly intense movement and it requires a lot of strength, then I'm going to change my game up actually altogether. And I would have them step from the top of their mat back into lunge. Now, we did that today, but it wasn't because I didn't think y'all could do it. It wasn't because of the caliber of athleticism in the room. It was because I simply chose that variation, right? Which is why it doesn't have to be something where you're walking and you're like, oh, all of y'all are old and can't do it, so we're gonna do it this way because it's easier. First of all, you would never say that. Secondly, you would just, that would be part of like the magic and the mystery. Just be like, oh, we're just gonna step back today. Nobody's the wiser as to why, right? Now, what have you also noticed when somebody is, so that's my variation. Sorry, scratch my question. That's my variation. If I walk in and I'm like, or even through the first bit and I have them lift their leg and I'm like, oh God, and nobody can get it past the middle of their mat and they're like struggling to get it all the way up there, I can either say something like, just take your time, and I give them extra time, that's awesome, or I can change it up altogether and just make it easier for them from the beginning, right? If I did one leg, I would do the other leg, I'd make them struggle through both sides, and then I would just not do that variation again. Does that make sense? And I would have them step back from the top of the mat. So these are the kind of things you're watching on the fly. And then we also want to address how we can use these guys to help us out, because these are a massive help that many people will not go and take on their own. So I always, when I come in, I have my blocks and my mat and anything else that I want them to have at the top of the mat. So it's the first thing I do when I walk in, is whatever my plan is for, then I have my props accessible. And most of the time when people see this, then they'll go, oh, that's what we need today, right? If somebody has not grabbed that, I would say to them, go ahead and grab a couple blocks over there while you get settled in, while they're coming in and stuff like that. If I sit down and I notice somebody still doesn't have their blocks, because there will be someone who does not have their blocks, even after you've told them, because they don't need props, I will go get them for them. And I just put them back in just in case, no big deal, just in case, right? Because you're also working with ego that says, I don't need that, I'm strong enough, I'm fine, right? Because a lot of times people see these as like a, I'm not okay, or I need help, or I must not be good enough because I need a prop.
I even found myself putting it on the highest setting and then looking at everybody else in the lowest setting, but I feel like I'm gonna get over it because I'm like, this is just what feels nice. And like maybe I shouldn't be looking at other people's blocks and judging what it's
And it's really, yeah, it's really a reflective tool for people, you know? And I'll just sometimes flat out address that, right? Like if I feel like it's something people are kind of walking on eggshells on, I'm like, you can use your blocks, go ahead. In fact, everybody just grab your blocks. When you tell them to do that, then they do it. It's wild, the psychology that goes on in a yoga class, right? Really anywhere, but we're teaching yoga. So if you tell them all to, even the people who are resistant to will do that. If you show them how to use the props, they'll even more use them. Because a lot of times we are like, oh, everybody just grab a block, but then we don't actually tell them how to use them or why, right? Once you explain why, then people are like, oh, blocks are great. Mm-hmm.
Is
Now-
that why, like, in each pose, or like, do you have like a general why?
Yeah, that was gonna be my question to you, is why? Why do we use blocks?
Well, I like to listen to teachers say, I love using the block right here. And I like it because I can get an even better stretch in my whatever than when my hands are open. And I explain
Yes,
how good it feels to use the block.
right. So explaining why you use them, right? And what you get from using them.
And like the alignment, everybody's alignment with body's different.
Totally.
So it helps sometimes where, yeah, some people can go deeper in something, but your hips are different, so using block can really help because everybody's body is different.
Right, correct.
Yeah, I feel like it's a big proportionality thing too. Like I definitely was one of those people for a long time who never wanted to use blocks because it was cheating.
Yeah, me too.
And then I started
You
using
too.
them and I was like, oh my God, my arms were just too short.
Yeah, maybe your arms are too short.
Okay, yeah.
Yes, there's that. We all have different proportions. And some people have their hands on the ground, and then the psychology is, oh, I should have my hands on the ground, because you do. But that's not necessarily the case. What I like to emphasize in my classes is why people use blocks is because it helps you access your breath better. Right? If you're not worried about struggling to get your hands on the ground or be the deepest one in lunge, but your focus is on your breath, now the scope of practice has changed significantly. Right? And if we're using the breath as the metronome, and remember now, why are we concentrating so much on our breath?
Calm the mind
Because what happens when you calm your mind?
and relax.
Right. Patanjali says in the Yoga Sutras, you realize your true nature. When your mind is calm, you remember, oh, I am not those fluctuating thoughts. I am not this body. It doesn't matter how deep in lunge I am, I'm still in conflict, right?
That's that wisdom.
Correct. Right. That's the wisdom that comes through. When the breath is steady, the mind calms, and boom, your inner wisdom flows through. And that's what people will attribute to you. But what I'm trying to say is that doesn't have anything to do with you. You may have aligned them. You may have given them their prop. You may have helped them understand that. And sure, take that. But the wisdom that flows in from that is divine wisdom, right? That is for them. And that is something from their highest self.
I was going back over the breath chapter a little bit, and the other thing that I've been playing with a lot in my own practice that I love is that your breathing is also part of the support for your spine.
Yeah.
Like actually having that air inside of you. And I mean, to me, it almost reminds me of like heavy weightlifting where you push your stomach out instead of pulling your stomach in and you're doing like a deep squat. But just that, the use of your breath to support your body.
Yes. Well, it's also speaking to something that is always there to support you, but you don't have to think about it. Now we're putting a thought pattern on that which is supporting you, right? We're putting attention on that which is supporting you. And I can't tell you how many people I've taught that are like, I don't know how to breathe. Or they go through this training and they're like, oh, I've been breathing wrong this whole time.
Yeah.
But that's just developing awareness, and that's what you're providing, whether the people are in chairs or whether they're in a 30-person class or whether it's just them or there's 3 of you or whatever, right? What I always like to remember is people just want to breathe and move. That's it. That's all you have to do is just start them breathing and moving, right? So to address how do I breathe and how much do I say, these words are going to be your helpers, right? The very distinct ways that you can think. So let's do some more of this. What's another way of saying, like if you're guiding somebody through twisting, you could say the word twist. What are other words for twist? Turn. Rotate. Shift.
That's also when you give direction to the walls.
That's when you give direction. I use to the plants and to the blue walls. But you can use whatever, right? The front and the back, the type. I would make it easy. So it's not like, turn to the tiger peacock wallpaper and lift your, just turn to the back, right? And this speaks to like not saying too much because we all want to give, and when we want to give it all. Even in this training, I want to give you all the things that I know, but we can't, not because I know so much, but because there's only so much that you can absorb. And there's only so much your students can absorb. There's only so much that can be said in a moment in time, right? And what I guess I'm driving at a lot of this is that there's a lot that's not being said that is also happening, right? And so you're going to speak to what it is that can be most helpful in the physical setting because you're not sure what's going on for them mentally, emotionally, spiritually, right?
You're just gonna create the container. Again, you're just creating a container. How about for like folding forward?
Fold.
Okay,
And down.
bend. Dive. I would probably suss that down to dive.
Yeah, like hinge down.
Hinge. Hinge.
Release.
Release.
Descend.
Sure. Descend works.
We have just synonyms.
Sounds like done.
Exactly. The source.
Uh-huh.
The source.
So now after these words, what happens is that you're gonna choose like where you're coming from and where you're going to. You said hinge at your waist, right? Okay, so I'm standing, now I'm going to hinge at my waist, and that's all I need to say. Inhale, exhale, fold forward. Inhale, exhale, hinge at your waist. Inhale, right, lengthen, then release your hands towards the floor, right? Something is going from somewhere to someplace else, and that's it. You can go, okay, so lift your arms up towards the sky, take an inhale, and then on your exhale, dive all the way down and fold and put your hands on the floor, and then inhale, lift, and just inhale the arms up, exhale, fold forward. People get it, right?
So you always say the breath first,
Yes,
then the action word, then where you're going.
correct. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lower your arms down. Lower, that's another one. Somewhere in here.
Lower, dive, hinge, release.
Lower.
Lower.
Breath will help you. And I would say that's an awesome like structure to have as you go breath, command, and then posture.
Direction, yeah.
Direction, yeah.
I like this because this is something that I've been working on in my own practice, is the transitions,
Mhm.
giving just as much attention to like the movement and transition from each pose instead of like, what am I doing in this pose? It's like,
Yes.
how am I like moving? Like the movement is just so important to allow grace in that movement and to like move slower. Like even like stepping up to a mat, like I would like jump or like, bring my foot up first or whatever, but I've been like walking really mindfully and slowly,
Mhm.
just to have that like slow, mindful transitions.
Yes.
It's also about the movements, not just the whole pose.
Correct. So that's an important piece too, because yes, you are also addressing the transition, not just what happens in a pose. But let's keep that in mind. We'll concentrate on just being in the pose first and then talk about transitions later, okay? So if I'm in Warrior 2, right, first I'm gonna look for the alignment. And what is the general alignment for Warrior 2? In the feet.
Back foot at a 90-degree angle.
Mm-hmm,
Front foot, toes facing forward.
mm-hmm.
Heel of the front foot at the same place as the arch on the back.
Sure, great, 3, done. That's all you have to say, okay? If you notice after you said that, people still aren't getting it, then you need to say something else, right? Or you need to adjust and amend what you're saying because they're not getting it. But most of the times, those are clear enough instructions that they will get that. Now, what I wanted to also say is that we have, and I'm gonna assume this is true across the board for the teachers that you've observed, is that most of us are practicing on our mats. Would you say that's true?
Most of them.
There was a time where I would have told you never to do that. And now here I am sitting on my mat practicing yoga. COVID changed so much about our adjustments and how we approach each other. And
I don't wanna blame it just on COVID because it was underlying the surface the whole time. COVID just brought it up to the surface where people were like, yeah, it's uncomfortable when I get adjustments, or yeah, I don't like that, or yeah, I feel violated, or, you know, all sorts of things started coming to the surface about people and adjustments and power and all of this stuff that, again, has been there for many, many years, just wasn't really always addressed. When you are on your mat, what I will say to this is when you are on your mat, it is a lot harder to pay attention to what's going on with other people's bodies because you're on your mat in your body. Now, I've been doing this for a very long time, and I can tell you that when I'm on my mat, I am still watching everything that's happening with other people. Now, what is also difficult with that is that it makes what's going on in my body less safe for me. If I'm not here, if I'm on my mat in my body, but I'm watching everyone else, I'm not paying attention to what's going on for me, right? If I'm on my mat and I'm doing this practice just for me, then it's hard for me to pay attention to other people. So for many years, I was like, I don't want you on your mat. I want you up and walking around and watching, because this practice, when you're teaching, is not for you, right? It's for other people. Your practice is something separate from this. There's a line there that you can decide what to do. I have found it beneficial at times to be in practice with other people, to go through it with them. But I will tell you, I am always watching their foundation. I am always making sure that they are safe in their bodies first and foremost. And part of that is because when I do that, I drop out of what's going on in my body and look for someone else. So it's like a half practice, if you will, through when I'm teaching, if that makes sense. I don't think I was on my mat hardly at all today. There were a lot of people to watch, right? So it would be so cool if we could get you to a place where you felt comfortable getting off of your mat and viewing people's bodies, because that's so informative as far as what your cues are. You can say those cues all day long, but if you're not watching for the feedback from other people, if they're getting that, then the cue doesn't make any sense. Does that make sense? So we want to make cues that we are seeing land in people's bodies. And for the most part, these cues that you're given in your book, in your anatomy book, and in that toolbox, if you've got that, are cues that have landed. And I think, Jen, it was you and I were talking about the toolbox has so many different cues.
Literally, the cards are this big, and the back is just two solid
Columns, yeah.
Of cues. And if you read them all, you would do a whole class on one pose.
Yeah.
That's overwhelming.
The yoga toolbox, and she showed us the page where the cards you can take out. It's worth it. I really.
It's way overwhelming.
I would like to talk to you about it, because I bought it and I'm like, oh gosh, I don't even know where to start.
The thing that I started loving doing is when I'm trying to put together a flow or something, I will take out all the cards and I'll lay them out in front of me, and it's easier because you can move them around and be like, oh, that doesn't seem like it would fit there.
Yeah. What I would say about that many cues is, yes, it's overwhelming. No, you do not need to say them all, but it's a great resource for different ways to say the same thing, right? You will all kind of find and fall into your ways of saying things. And that's part of what people come to you as a teacher for, is that they get it. I think the hardest thing is to establish your communication style with someone. And that's what's really happening when someone first comes to your class, is like, okay, I'm gonna try out your communication style and see if you and I jive on that level, right? So my aim is when someone comes in to make them feel not only welcome, but that I'm not talking over their head, and that this is not something that they don't know how to do, right? That moving them into their body is me just suggesting things, right? Lift your arm up and over your head. Exhale, extend to the side. Just notice how that feels. Take a deep breath in and a deep breath out, right? That's up to them to interpret how it feels in their body. You give them space to explore that, and that's it, right? That's what people want, at least I think. That's what I want. I don't want you telling me what to feel all the time, but I do want you to tell me where to maybe feel that. Does that make sense?
Are we not, did you guys have a rule? It's probably no rules, but we are not doing adjustments anymore.
So it turned into ask for permission.
Yeah.
Right? Which is consent. It's cool, pretty important and pretty cool. But I will say that I don't always ask for explicit. explicit consent.
What do you do? Like, I just noticed, I love getting adjustments, but it seems like nobody does it.
No one does it
Right.
anymore.
I need that.
Well, so let's just chat about that for a minute, because you're right. It's one of the things that over the years when I have asked, and I should say I don't not always ask. I don't always not ask. Sometimes it's usually because I haven't thought about it beforehand, and I feel awkward asking in the moment, right? And so I just don't. But what I have always defaulted to is that I never adjust someone that I don't know. And that you have to have, like, I have my own little rule. Like, I'm like, you have to at least show A, that you're open to it, and B, you've come back enough that we've agreed that my style of communicating is landing somewhere with you. And so I know these people appreciate it. Now, the other thing is that when I do remember, what I notice is that I'll say, okay, if you, like, I'll put everybody in child's pose, and I'm like, turn your palms up if you want an adjustment, and turn your palms down if you do not. And I will tell you, over all of these years of teaching, there has been a person, maybe more than that, but she's one person that's come to my mind that has said no thank you.
Oh.
Most everybody wants to be adjusted. And it's wild because that's not what we're doing.
I know Barette's class, she always has cards and she'll
That's
say,
what I was gonna say.
turn it over if you don't want an adjustment, or she'll just ask, or like, I know Beth has done it too, where she'll just say, raise your hand.
Yeah.
You know.
What's her name that teaches on Thursday that does the tarot pulls too? She's, yes.
Oh, yeah.
She gives everyone a tarot card every class, and she'll read it for you afterwards, but
Yeah.
part of the reason the card is there is if the card side is up, you would like an adjustment, if
Yeah.
the back side is up, you do not. So everyone just kind of puts their cards out in front of their mat.
That's an awesome thing to do.
I feel like it's different too, for being a man.
Yeah.
To go around, we wouldn't
Yeah.
Feel
Yeah.
touch and
Yeah.
adjust.
I was adjusted by a guy, a teacher, and I didn't want it.
Right.
I think that's.
I don't think I would
Yeah,
do it.
and
Right,
didn't
as
ask
a
for
man,
permission.
yes, or you're
I
turned
just-
off by it.
Yeah, I just wouldn't do it, I don't want to.
Yeah, sure.
Honestly,
It's-
if you're a friendly lawyer, I would tell you not to do it.
Totally, yeah.
No, totally.
It's really
That
safer.
sucks.
Curve.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe touch rat, but you know.
it's really
Just-
safer
sorry.
for, it's really safer for everyone to not, to be honest with you. And that's the kind of dilemma that we're in, is that I'm telling you right now, there are very few people who say no, and yet it still doesn't feel like it's an okay thing to do, right? I don't know.
How do you feel like, is it considered an adjustment, like you're in Shavasana and they come around and massage your shoulders?
Yeah.
That's still an adjustment, because
Yeah.
that's so wonderful.
It's so
That's
wonderful.
Yeah.
So nice.
Or like traction your legs out a little bit.
So we can do some of those today. And my intent is I would love to show you some really welcome adjustments for people. At the same time, you know, addressing that there are some adjustments that will be more like intimate than others. And we don't need to do the intimate ones, right? We are just doing we call them feel good ones. The ones that just have people know, like, it's not necessarily the adjustment I think that people want, I think it's the human connection.
Yes.
I think it's the touch. There are some people who just don't ever get touched by anyone, right? Or if some people, just a handful of people. And there's so much healing that can happen with that, but it has to be done in the right way. It's like the Kali mantra, right? Like, you don't just spread Kali wherever you want. You direct her a certain place. You don't just spread your hands wherever they want to go. You direct them in a certain way onto someone's body to convey something that's nice and loving and caring, right? Not advantage, not power. And that's the whole thing, is that it can so easily be misconstrued and misinterpreted. So I think that's also why people are just like, nope, I'm not going to do it. I will say today, I had, there were 30 some people in here. I adjusted Poppy in the back. Sorry, Bryn. Her name is Bryn Pop, and I always call her Poppy.
That's a really fun name.
Bryn. And then I was like, oh God, I can't do all these people. So it's a little bit for me like all or nothing, right? I'm like, if I'm going to adjust, I'm going to adjust everybody. And if I'm not going to adjust anyone. Does that make sense? There's sometimes where you can convey like a special, and that's not what I'm trying to do either. So it's either like, I'm gonna go ahead, and I just did her, and then I was like, you know what, I don't really feel like this today. It's a lot of energy. It's a lot of energy exchange. This is also partly why I have shied off of doing it lately, is because I'm like, I'm gonna get us through this class. I'm gonna pull in what I can. My words are gonna have to be enough. And every now and then I'll go around and like squeeze someone's hand or put my hand on their shoulder or something like that. Again, the people that I know well and the people that have been coming for years and years. But this is we can go into those a little bit later too.
And maybe it's not like a beginning teacher thing, like this is an intuitive thing that
Right.
maybe you'll
Right,
might add in later,
right.
seems like.
When you feel comfortable with someone.
Yeah.
But we can talk about like how to do some comforting ones. Some ones in child's pose that'll be easy, some in downward dog that'll be easy, some when they're in forward fold that aren't invasive, you know. And this is another thing where you gotta open up your intuition to like what people will accept and what they won't. And it's fine if you're like, I'm not sure, then don't, right? That's the default, is just use your words. But that means your words also have to be very good, right? So that's what we're trying to get at today, is how do I instruct it so that I'm addressing what's expanding, what's contracting, what's the foundation, and then what else is going on in the room. The mental attitude, the breath, body, okay? So in any given posture, when you're in a pose, we wanna highlight like three alignment cues. I would say no more than 5. Okay, and that's gonna cut down on like how much words you can say, right? So if we're talking about your foundation, then we wanna notice where the hips and shoulders are, and then we wanna address the gaze or the crown, right? And all of that will pull somebody into alignment. Okay? That's like the physical cue. We want 3 to 5 physical cues that are simple, right? Lift your right leg to the sky, draw it all the way through to the top of your mat, low lunge, right? Now I would have them in low lunge, and now I can refine low lunge, but I have to be careful how long I keep them in low lunge because the clock is ticking, right? And by that I mean that hopefully they're using some blocks. The clock is ticking in that they have a certain amount of energy to hold a posture before fatigue sets in. And then some habits get established that are not helpful, right? So again, there's your three word limit. So you have an inhale, lift the leg to the sky, exhale it through to the top of your mat, low lunge. See your knee underneath your ankle. That's what I would say is your first probably predominant cue, is where their knee and ankle are. What's going on in their hips? If their hips are askew, draw your right hip back, left hip forward, right? Left, if it's right foot forward lunge. Inhale through the crown. Now, if their arms are to the sky, you would lift their arms to the sky. If their hands are on the ground, you keep them on the ground. And then you can move in and out of it. Here's another thing that I want to say is that there is a very classic way of instructing that has you first doing dynamic posture. So in and out of lunge, or arm to the sky and arm down. Arms in front, arms open, right? Twisting to one side, releasing a little, twisting a little deeper. That's dynamic, right? I'm moving in and out of something. And then you hold. And part of that whole structure is not just for the body and for the breath, but also for the mind, right? We're looking at the microcosm of one posture within the macrocosm of the whole class, right? So you're taking the posture and you're moving in that posture and then finding stillness. And then you go to another posture and you move in that posture and find stillness. Another one, and all the while you're moving them more and more towards stillness. Why? Because when you're still, the mind is calm and then you realize your true nature. Okay? So that will also help you, these dynamic and static movements will also help you cue your breathing and get your people to breathe, right? So if I'm in lunge, this is gonna be a much different experience just holding my lunge here than if I were to move in and out of my lunge. Does that make sense? I can access my breath a little bit deeper. It's through these in and out movements you can notice, like, oh, what are the tendencies for these people? Where are they tight? Where are they not? Should we hold the lunge or should I hold their legs straight? I'll give you a clue. There's not one right answer. It's not like if you choose legs straight, someone's going to come out of the class and be like, we should have done lunge today. No one's going to say that. So there's no right or wrong. You just have to choose and decide. Today we're going to stay right here, right? And how do I choose is I notice what I feel. What do I want to do today? In that way, there's like, yes, it's I'm instructing, but we are also co-creating, but I just am deciding for everyone. And that's part of why you're at the seat of the teacher. Otherwise, you'd just be in class having them tell you what to do, okay? So does that make sense? Dynamic and static movement. And dynamic can help you tap into your breathing. I do the same rule for that. 3 to 5 inhales and exhales in and out of a pose. I usually average 3.
Those Kriyas?
Kriyas, exactly. So if I have my arms up and overhead here, I take my hands behind my back, or I could lower them down and lift them up and take them out to the side and do that like 3 times, right? Now, we already established as I do my arms up, what is it? Inhale or exhale? Inhale, what if I did this? Exhale, what if I did this? Uh-huh. Uh-huh. What if I held here?
Hold your breath.
Inhale, and then exhale. Okay, how about here? Would I inhale or exhale?
Exhale.
Exhale, straighten the leg, right? Inhale forward, exhale, straighten the leg. Then you don't have to say it again, just go inhale, exhale, right? Then they hold, and then you hold them for 3 to 5 breaths. Again, it's kind of always 3 to 5, right? You don't need to talk the whole time through. When the major things here with the legs straight is to help them stretch their hamstring, right? So you'll have them push, I say, push through the big toe mound and stretch your hip back. Hold and breathe. Pull your navel in, support your low back. Lift your chest a little bit. One of those I would choose based on what I see not happening in their body. Does that make sense? So we're going to do that in a minute too. We're going to look at different bodies and how different poses come out in different bodies. Okay? Then we change, right? And we do either the other side or you change the posture to get, somehow you got to get to the other side, right? So from my lunge, what would you say if I was going to switch sides? Yeah, you could have them come up through crescent lunge. This is what's going to be now dependent on like, who am I teaching? That's probably partly why you guys paused, right? It's like, well, I don't know, who am I teaching? What's their capability, right? Sometimes I've had people, like older people, I'll have them get into this position and I know like coming up to standing and going through crescent lunge is going to take forever. And so I'm like, just step your knee back and bring your other foot forward. Right? So it doesn't have to be super complicated, right? You just have to decide. That's all.
How do you get an old person to stand up from that?
I have them step forward.
Okay.
It's really the blocks.
It's blocks.
It's blocks because look, if I didn't have these, this is where my hands would be.
Yeah.
And I have some flexibility in my body, but if I didn't, like, it would now be here, right? And then you can just tell they're struggling. So once this starts to happen, oh, now I can breathe a little bit more. I have some more space. Go gadget arms. My arms are a little bit longer, right? And it just helps everything. So when you see people struggle, that would be step 1. Grab them some blocks and then show them how to use them. This is what happens. Just put your hands on your blocks and step forward. It's wild to me how much we have to walk people through that.
Yeah. Create space.
But you really do. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, if you really want to figure it out, go to Lisa's Monday at the class.
Okay.
The other studio.
But there's a bunch of old people there.
That's where I was.
I was asking Ann
I
about
love
it.
it.
It's like the retired old yoga teachers class.
class.
Monday.
You're not as old as they are. These people are in their 70s.
Yeah, and they kick ass.
They
They
kick
can
ass.
do a lot.
They do. They
Yeah.
do. And I have to provide space, and I have to remember to slow down to really create space for them. That's not easy for me.
You give a lot of permission to like, you can do this, but you don't have to, and you can do other things. So there's always layers to it.
Right. Okay. What else? Anything coming to mind? Clear? Is this clear so far? Helpful? Okay. All right, so let's look at different bodies, okay? So Meredith and Jen, will you guys come into extended side angle? And then I want the rest of us, we're just gonna come up and look at your bodies. Cool.
How fun.
Now, don't worry, we're not judging. We're not looking at the parts of you that you think are not okay. We all think you're beautiful, first of all. Now, I want you guys to kind of walk around and notice as you look at their bodies, what you see. And what I mean by that is notice in their bodies where you see like a lot of maybe expanse or light, you could think of it as, and where you don't see much light or expansion. These are really beautiful.
Yeah, they look.
Yeah, they look good.
That's great.
They're really good.
A lot of expansion on the right side.
Uh-huh.
Side body.
Where do you see maybe not so much expansion?
On the left side.
Yeah.
There's also hips.
Uh-huh.
Starting a little bit.
Meredith's right hip is kind of coming more forward than Jen's, right? Look, now she's fixed. These are, by the way, for Jen and Meredith, this is not a judgment call on your posture, nor is it in any way to say you're doing it wrong. Come up and do the other side.
Thank you.
So you'll notice their tolerance for being in a posture, right? It's not gonna
That
be
was too
super
long.
long.
Yeah.
It was long, that was long. They're strong, okay? So now, like what you're looking for is, yes, clearly there'll be more light on the left side than the right. That's inherent in the pose. What we're gonna try to do is make more light underneath where there's not so much, right? Now, I even just said it and she changed it, did you see?
Yeah.
It's subtle, okay? So see if you can breathe a little bit more into the right side, guys, and then maybe bend your right knee just a little deeper.
So like cue breath when you try to make space. Okay.
Okay, come all the way up. And then, who's here? Katie and, Mark and Katie. You guys come and do downward. And you're just picking, and this is the kind of stuff, yeah, good job, Jen and Meredith, thank you.
Yeah.
This is the kind of stuff you're gonna watch, right?
Yeah.
Okay, spread your fingers a little wider, especially that left hand.
My dog was.
Okay, now you can see, just look at their different bodies.
It's a lot further apart, legs are a lot further apart. Like.
Oh, his heels are down.
His heels are,
His heels are
I'm so close, but yeah, your heels, Mark's heels are down, but
Oh,
also
you
his
did.
torso is so much longer,
Right?
than Katie's.
Yeah, I have a really short torso.
Are we trying to get our heels down and downward dog?
No.
Not necessarily, right? What are we trying to do?
Lift your sit bones up.
Straighten
your
spine.
Straighten the spine. Okay, come down onto your knees for a moment. It's pretty good. Pull for downward dog. Okay. So we noticed Mark has a longer torso. Look at him when they're sitting now. Right? This is just the caliber of bodies that you're looking for. These are the kind of things that you'll see. Mark has a pronounced curve in his low spine. Do you notice that? You already know that. What do you do for that? Anything?
For what pose am I in?
Downward dog.
Downward dog. I try to lift my sit bones up more.
To lengthen the low back, right?
Right.
Okay. Come back into your downward dog for a moment.
You mean, oh, it's going out?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's,
Yeah.
instead of
So if
sitting
he
there-
weren't, Yeah, so
yeah.
don't do that, Mark, do like a old down dog. See how it rounds in his low back a little bit? Now do your normal thing. Well, he created a little bit more space there, okay? Now, I would say for you, like walk your feet back a little bit more. And don't worry so much about your heels on the ground, but bend your knees a little bit. Good, and then lift your sitting bones up towards the sky. And then lengthen just a little bit more in here. Now see if you can kind of push into my hand from your upper back. Oh, look at that. What we're looking for in any posture is gonna be as straight as spine as possible. Now, I'm not gonna sit here and go, okay, no, shift that vertebrae back, and move that more here, and rotate these out, and then lift up, because he's like gonna die in the come down to your, not really, it's very strong, but like,
Flexibility in your shoulders too.
there's a lot of flexibility in your
Yeah.
shoulders, yeah.
Which is crazy because I kind of don't look at actually.
Right, like,
Just
when
certain
you're
things
in
that I
down
can
dog, like,
Yeah, but there's other things that I can't do, and some kind of rotation that's like really hard for me. So I guess it's the difference of
Yeah.
even my body, there's certain things that I can't do, but
Right.
I can't try to like,
Yeah.
really be mindful of.
Right, so there's so what we're looking for, again, like, these are vastly different downward dogs. Katie, do your downward dog again. That was really nice.
yeah.
And what do I mean by it looks nice? What is that? Does she look like she's struggling at all?
No, she's actually relaxing her head.
She looks like she could stay there for a long time.
One of the things I've noticed in observations, and I don't know if you guys have seen this, but like no one can actually release their neck in downward dog. Or like a fair number of people are.
They hold it up.
Yeah, or more like this, where they're not just but yours is really.
That's
I
sort
think
of-
I know.
Yeah, yes, it's right.
Yes, as a nose, Come down onto your knees. Now, I'm not gonna try to get Mark to look like Katie. That's just, that's not ever gonna happen. He is not Katie, she is not him, all right? Nor am I going to pick apart the posture that I think needs to be picked apart to make it whatever perfect is. I'm gonna see what his affect is if he's in that pose, right? If you see, okay, so let me explain now with these two. Who's over here? Maggie and Alyssa. You guys do warrior two. You guys come up. Thank you, Mark and Katie. You come up and do warrior two. Now, if I'm looking at somebody, and I don't know, do we need lights? Mark, could you get those lights? If I'm looking at someone warrior two, and I don't know, you guys, maybe try harder.
Do it bad.
I'm trying to get.
You do it bad, guys.
You guys are all so good already that it's like I need an example of someone who's like not great at this, right? In order to show you what it looks like when there's ease, right? So this, do it again, Alyssa, that is over efforting, right?
Yes.
I'm sure you've seen that in some people's postures. Now find a place where it's easeful, and you'll notice their energy changes, their breath changes, their eyes, their face changes, right? When they're in a place that's comfortable. So extend your arms and find a place that's comfortable. And then you'll notice their breath. So what you're looking for is not people to necessarily be efforting. Now, over effort for me. Yeah, first of all, they both bend deeper into their knees, right? And they shifted their weight forward. So in order for me to adjust, if I'm seeing that happen, what would I say?
Stacked over your ankle.
Yeah, first I bring my attention to their foundation. Then what?
Reach
Right.
as far back as you're reaching forward.
Reach as far back as forward. That's been my biggest help for people that I've noticed. Reach through your right hand as much as your left.
Feel a strong line of energy coming from both things.
Correct, yeah. Okay, come out of that and switch and do the other side.
So then looking back at your back arm and making sure, because a lot of times mine's like
Yeah.
kind of weird, not straight out, and then you look back like that.
Yeah, so travel around, kind of notice where their feet are in alignment with their ankles. Now, these guys are very good, again, so there's not a lot of adjustment that you would do. If I saw somebody in this posture, now it would be not necessarily a physical cue that I would give them, but I would give them a breath cue, I would give them a mental cue. right? This is where you can drop in your alignment, or your dharma, right? If you're like, this is really great. Okay, so let's address something else. How their breath is, right? And we're gonna hold 3 to 5 breaths, they're much longer than that. Go ahead and come up to standing down, pivot your toes to the side. Bring your hands to your hips, take an inhale, lift up, and then fold forward. Now what am I gonna look for? Where do I start? Feet. What do the feet do in forward fold?
The toes.
Toes in just a little, with feet parallel to the ends of the mat. After that, everything else is will fall in line with where it's going to fall in line. Does that make sense? Now, notice, look at their knees. This is a lot of times where I see people hyperextend their knees, and that's okay, but what happens if you guys bend your knees a little bit?
Closer to that.
They get further in, don't they? You can see how it changes. So that's not necessarily gonna be the cue across the board for everyone, but one of those suggestions. And where you could go, well, now what would happen if you guys just bent your knees? Take an inhale breath here, another exhale as you fold forward, and then bring your hands to your hips and come all the way back up to standing, right? So you're kind of exploring with them, and in a lot of ways, I'll put myself in that position, mentally, energetically, what would I feel like if I was in that pose? And if I was I'm not really sure, what I would do is I would go to the top and I would pop myself into said pose. And I would ask myself as I'm instructing, what am I feeling in my body? And what helps me get a little deeper in is a little bit into my knees. Now, I have the advantage of having done this enough that I can just do that off the fly and know at the same time. But this is where your personal practice comes in to go, what does it feel like with my knees are like that? What do I sense is longer or deeper, or where can I feel my breath more? Those are the things that your personal practice will help you be able to translate as you step into the role of the teacher. Does that make sense? Okay, so then Brad and Jen, we're gonna look at them from across the room. You do,
Headstand.
I thought Maggie was about to drop up into a headstand. It was over, I'm like,
you guys do pyramid pose. Have left foot forward, right foot back. Okay. Turn towards the top of the mat, so not triangle, but turn to the top of the mat and square your hips forward, so your left foot faces forward. Turn your toes more towards the corner of the mat. Shift your heel back.
What am I doing?
Pyramid pose, this guy. So what I'm trying to get him to do is shift his heel a little bit, right? So that his hips can square more forward. Do you see how that's in Jen? Look at her feet.
Oh, bring your back foot a little bit closer, inch it up.
Look, he's already grabbing his blocks.
yeah, the blocks really, for me, the two things, being on 2 rails too, instead of trying to keep your feet.
Okay. Look at that. Those are nice. Her feet are a little closer together than his, right? So do we need to change that at all?
No.
How come?
Because
They
their
both
bodies
look
are
pretty
different.
comfortable. That's what they do.
They both look comfortable. And how do they look comfortable? How do you know?
Never efforting.
They don't look uncomfortable, do they? They're not tensing in their shoulders or anything. Their necks are somewhat relaxed for being lengthened, right? Even though their torsos are in different place, right? So very little that I would probably do to either of them, except maybe I would encourage Jen to have a bigger step. But what I'm more concerned with, rather than how long her stance is if this foot is rooted, right? Why?
If it
Balance your
wasn't,
weight.
if it wasn't rooted, then it's gonna be harder, right?
Yeah, why?
You know, yeah, I don't.
Throws your hips off a lot, when I stepped wider, when you said that, it really does screw with the balance of the 2 legs
Your
together.
body.
Okay. Switch sides, step your right foot forward, left foot back, or the other side.
Would you have Jen put the blocks on the taller side?
Could.
So her spine is more
Good.
right?
Yeah.
Because it looks like you're.
Would you try
Well,
that
I
first, Jen?
intentionally forward folding.
Good.
Straight out.
So now it depends on like, what's my aim for this posture? What's my overall arc in the class? Am I working this class more for my spine and for the strength of my back, or am I working more hamstrings? So I want a deeper forward fold. That's where these different variations of the posture will come in. Does that make sense? So look at how long this is good. He doesn't seem to be efforting, his root is in the back foot, his spine is long, his gaze is down, right? He could, again, like I think both of them could stay there for a very long time, not that that's necessarily the judge, but it means they're comfortable, right? And Patanjali says in the Yoga Sutra, a posture is mastered when it's steady and comfortable. Step up to the top of your mat and fold forward, and then come all the way back up to standing. And exhale your hands to your heart center. Okay, so you're looking overall for where someone is comfortable, but that is also going to be up to interpretation, because some people will be comfortable when you perceive them to not be, and vice versa. And that's what I was talking to you before about like their face. Like sometimes people's faces don't tell what's happening inside, but this is where you can instruct their gaze and their mental capacity. Okay, so you guys do now chair pose for me. You were hoping for that.
Lucky us.
She's gonna talk. Cool. So look at their chair pose. Wow, what do you see? Where do you see weight?
Ankles,
Uh-huh.
back feet.
Ankles and feet. Keep breathing.
Do we want to move Mark's legs more together, or does that not matter?
It's not super important
Okay.
as long as he's steady there
Okay,
and it doesn't
okay.
seem too wide. Doesn't seem too wide to me.
Okay.
Their feet are definitely different. Wider and less wide. Just 2 more breaths.
And Meredith's butt's sticking out a lot more.
Hers is sticking out a little bit more. His hips are a little more forward. Okay, come to stand. And then release
I wasn't trying to
It's like just have people talk about you, see how it feels.
Right.
But that's
Right.
as far as being like a teacher, you're like analyzing everybody.
Yeah.
To see like.
Right. Now, I wouldn't say that just because your hips are out more that that's a bad one. And I wouldn't say just because your hips are more forward that it's bad. Right? So we have to get out of like, this is right and this is wrong and this is bad and this is good. And that's such a difficult thing. Even when I say your hips are out, you're like, oh.
Yeah, like it.
Makes the impression that they should be under, which is the same effect you're gonna have in your class if you blanket say, everyone's hips be this way, right? So many people just get them in and then watch their affect, watch where they are, give subtle little adjustments to everyone, right? And everyone will shift. Does that make sense? Now, if I do see somebody really not okay and really not safe, that I need to address. Okay, so let's say, why don't you do it again, but one of you do it like bad. Meredith, go bad. Bad. Okay, but way up. You do your thing. Now I have one who's fine and another one who's like so not. Right? So what am I gonna do? Right? When I have this scenario, they can only be in the pose for so long. So I'm gonna actually have them bring their hands down onto their hips. Okay, now I'm gonna have you lift your chest up towards the sky and then root the weight in your feet and pull your knees back in line with your shins. Good, take one more inhale. I'm gonna instruct for her, but he's doing the same thing. But I'm not like, hey, so this is bad and wrong, right? And I'm not even directing all my energy to her. If we didn't have this conversation, she would never know that that's what I'm doing. Does that make sense? Now I've just created like some semblance of like correction for her while he's like fine, right? But they both are applying what I've said. Come all the way up and down. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Is it every pose that you're gonna see dramatic difference between men and women's anatomies? Because to me, part of that of saying that your butt was further back is like, you got hips that he doesn't have.
Yeah,
right? And
right.
that,
Yes,
like
sure.
that one, I feel like anatomically there are poses that are very different.
Yes.
Okay.
This is why I want you to look at bodies instead of like having everybody adhere to a particular shape. And that's what's so difficult about this is because everyone's body is going to be slightly different and they're not going to fit a mold. Hopefully they don't fit a mold. in your head as far as what the perfect pose is, but that you can make an adjustment to say, oh, now energy flows a little more freely through that body, right? And I can tell their eyes have relaxed a little, right? You can feel energetically when someone has softened into something and when someone's still gripping around it, right? Okay?
The face, like you were saying.
Their face. I would say especially their eyes. It's like their eyes relax, their shoulders often relax, and sometimes it's so subtle that if you're not open to it, you can miss it, right? But you'll sense it. That's kind of also what you're practicing to do is like as you're teaching these classes is to sense like if someone's holding their breath or they can't move or their back leg is like shaking, right? How are you going to help them to either stay with it and develop the strength or come out of it and try it again another time, right?
There's sometimes like, I feel like in class where I've been in a pose and my leg is shaky, or the teacher will say something like, oh, it's good, it's almost like it's okay if you're shaking because you're getting out the like, whatever, like extra energy or the, I don't know, I think of it as almost like there's probably some sort of like trauma that's in there and it might be like getting out. But like, how do you know the difference between like, that's good and like, oh, this is too much for somebody?
Mm-hmm. Great question.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Maybe, and I think it's nice to just call out that sometimes you might be shaking, it's fine,
Yeah.
right?
I'd rather hear it's nice to, and then be like, oh, okay, fine, than like, oh, I'm bad at this.
Mm-hmm. So part of it is you're gonna say, well, how long have I been in this pose?
Yeah.
And part of it is it just fatigue and I held them in the pose too long? And is it also that sometimes people will start shaking when they just got into the pose, right? So there's some nervous system things happening in there. In the Yoga Sutras, Patanjali says that the shaking of the body is one of the ways that imbalance is working itself out. So there is part of that. You kind of have to just judge. If somebody's in like chair pose, and I've held them in chair pose for a good bit of time, and then they start shaking, I'm like, well, understandable, because you've been here for a long time. Once I see them start to shake, or their eyes start to dart around, or they're looking at me like, what the fuck, Lisa? Then I go, okay, we're done. One more breath in, one more breath out, and then come out of the pose, right? I'm not gonna go, oh, you didn't like that? Okay, let's come out of it, right? Right now, because it's uncomfortable for you, I'm gonna go, oh, okay, you're a little uncomfortable. Good. Take one more breath in, one more breath out, and then come out of the pose, right? So you're teaching them also that there is resilience in there, that they can do it, especially when they look at you like, I can't do this anymore. You're like, oh, yeah, you can, right? And that's when then you fill them. And you're like, you can do it, look how strong you are, you're awesome,
That's
right?
what you did to us in the belt pose today.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like, "Alright, one more."
Yeah,
that was
when
like,
you said
"Oh,
Yeah, you're like, oh, I lied, one more.
One more. Yeah, and all my students go, sure, Lisa. But you know what happens afterward is they're like, I'm so glad you made me do that. Maybe not consciously, but like, I know that's how I feel. I'm like, I would have never done that if you hadn't made me do that. And I didn't like it at the time and I actually kind of cursed you in my head, but now it's done and I like you. So you're also guiding them through that, like, little love-hate relationship that you got with your teacher.
I've heard teachers say too that shaking is what you do when you're getting stronger. Like that's a sign that you're moving to the next level of strength.
Right.
You're
That's
shaking on it,
maybe a
and
good
then-
coaching tool too,
Yeah.
like.
Yeah. Now, if I've done this and this and this and this and this, and they're shaking, now it's fatigue, right? So again, I would say no more than 3 postures that you want to link together on one side.
Yeah.
Max 5 before fatigue, and then their alignment starts to go, and then it's just trouble. Okay, so like 3 poses, like warrior 2 to triangle to warrior 2 to extended side angle. That would be it. And then I would switch and do the other side, same thing. Okay. Now another piece of this is like, how do I know which side to do when? Remember, one of the tricks that I use is like wedding rings. Whenever you see someone with a wedding ring, you can know that's the left side, right? It's not across the board, but but most often people that are wearing them on their left side. So you can use that as a little trick of the trade, right? So know which side you're on. The mirroring thing sounds hard, but it's not. If I want you to lift your right arm, I'm gonna lift my left. If I want you to take your left leg forward, I'm gonna lift my right. So it's always opposite of the one that you want. That doesn't mean it's always easy, because sometimes the brain is the brain and it can't compute that. And so in those instances, I actually turn myself toward people. I'll turn my back to people, one of the very few times I do, so that I can get the right foot. And then when I face back to them, I try to mirror them. Do I get myself caught up in that? Yes, you've probably seen that. Then I just ask and everyone's like, no, it's this leg, right? So that's fine too. But you can always use the tool of facing their same direction. I do that also when we go over here, but then the mirroring, if you just think in your head, it's just opposite. If I'm lifting my right arm, it means it's their left.
Or you say what it is and then you just copy you mirror them.
You say what you want them to do and mirror what they're doing. Lift your right arm up, and I'm gonna think in my head, your left arm up. If you're like, I just can't do that today, then don't do it, right?
Because I think Katrina doesn't mirror, one of you doesn't mirror.
Yeah, I don't think Katrina does.
Okay.
Yeah. And that's not neither here nor there. I would just say, now I'm not gonna mirror you, right? Lift your right arm to the sky, right? And then you can lift your right arm. But it's also a thing in beginners. Beginners love to look at you. They love to know that they're doing it right? Everybody loves to know that they're doing it right. So if you're going to teach beginners, it's often very helpful to be on your mat with them. But you just have to do the same thing, right? If you do the opposite, like if you don't mirror with them and you don't tell them that, they'll just do, and then it gets to be this left and right mess. And you get down a rabbit hole real quick, right? Now, you can bypass that altogether by just having them extend one arm and just copy that arm and leave out right and left altogether. Does that make sense? And then you can go, now do the other side. And then do the other side. But this is where you have to check to make sure that everybody's doing the right side and where you want them to be.
Some of your most endearing moments in class too are like when you forget. You're like, wait, which side are we on? Did we already do that? Yeah. Or today when you were like, nope, we already did that foot. Let's switch.
Right, because why?
It's not a big deal.
Is there a human?
Yeah.
Right, brain is hard.
Fallible, right? And left and right is not that easy. And we're all learning our way through it. So if you can show those human moments for people, they love that, because then it doesn't feel like they're.
Yeah, and you laugh, but it's funny.
It's not a big deal.
I did appreciate that too.
Yeah.
And Katrina, I think she did the same thing yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like every time.
Yeah.
It's like,
Which I love.
Yeah, it's great.
It doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't. But I guess what I'm trying to impress upon you too is that I want you to see them, and I want you to use them as the way that informs your cues. That's the biggest thing, is not that I come in with a blanket cubic for everyone to go through, but how do I really see these bodies as their own unique beings, and then address what I see happening in the body.
So don't keep to your script exactly, because you're gonna have to deal with what's in the room.
Correct. Well, I would amend that statement just a little bit and say, have your script, but be willing to have your script change with what you see.
I feel like that has to just take time.
And that
I feel like I
takes
have to stick to my script.
Absolutely.
Because I'm not, to
Could
the
we
point
have
where I could
yeah.
flip that around mid.
Absolutely.
Can we have a script in the final thing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We can have our.
You can have a script.
Okay.
Yes. I just want to see that within your script, you're also looking at me. That's what I want in the end. I don't expect you to have all of the ways to readjust someone in their posture, but I do want you to see how your words are landing in someone else's body. Does that make sense? Because that, if you can do that, say your script with how it feels in your body and then see how it's landing in someone else's body, that's gonna inform everything. And that's what's gonna come over time, and why it's best to just keep practicing and just keep flexing this muscle. That's all it is. Just doing it enough that you go, oh, if I say lift your right arm up rather than raise your right arm, it's better. Well, that's maybe not the best example, but you know what I mean.
And it's probably better to practice with people that haven't done it. As opposed to,
And it's way better to practice with people that haven't done it for this exact reason that I just showed you. These warrior twos, these triangle poses, these poses are really good, right? You guys have been doing this for a long time, but mom and dad haven't, and they don't know, right? And so if you can find people who don't practice yoga and tell them, we're just gonna stretch, we're just gonna breathe a little bit, it's no big deal. They will do it. And then they won't even know that they're practicing yoga. And then you can go, oh, you've already done it.
and can I say how cool Brad helps somebody with a stutter with yoga?
That was
like, that is not even related, you know.
Well, why is
most
that?
will come up.
What do you think it did? Why do you think that happened?
And calm them down a little bit. That's
Well,
anxiety.
Relax the diaphragm too.
Brad gave him the space to then also talk to Brad about it. You know,
He's a safe person.
Yeah.
So you've already got that, right?
that's the initial.
There was relax the diaphragm. What else? There's another key piece in here that I'm thinking of.
Mindfulness.
Breath in mind.
Yeah. The thing I'm thinking of is the nervous system. Right? The stutter is, you were saying the diaphragm, right? He said he wasn't breathing, right? Which means everything is up here. And just, and then you're gonna, right? Once you calm down, right? Then everything relaxes. Nervous system calms down, everything starts to relax, and someone can express how they are. What a beautiful, their true nature, right? Their calm, beautiful being comes out in a world that doesn't always have space for that, right? Or doesn't give space for that. And that's what I'm saying to you guys, you're creating space for people to be who they are as they are, not how they've conditioned themselves to be in the rest of the world. That's what we're doing. I mean, that's what I'm trying to get people to do. Because that's what's helped me. Just to be able to sit in my own skin, in a group of people, right? And with my own self. In a society that does not allow for that in very many ways at all. And that's where that's why it's like, the alignment is good, yes, because all of those things are happening when you align it. But really, that's what's happening, is that you're letting people calm down, cool out, settle into themselves, and be still where they are. And then their minds relax and everything gets a little bit better for just that moment. The pattern will come right back, but for just that moment, you've undone the pattern. And then if they do another moment, and another moment, and another moment, it starts to extend, right? And it's just like overcoming, quitting smoking. It's like you start one time, and then it's been this day, and then that day, and then it becomes harder to even go back to the pattern, right? Maybe.
After a while.
Yeah. Right, but this is the whole example too. This is the perfect example for the asana practice, right? It's so easy for us to fall back into our old patterns, and we can get down on ourselves on that, and we can get mad at ourselves, and we can be sad about it, and all the emotions that we have about it. But the fact of the matter is we have to come out of these patterns, whether they're from quitting smoking to alignment in the body, right? To alignment in the mind. And it's just a practice. And it's gonna take a while. It's just gonna take a while. This is a practice hopefully you'll have in your life for the rest of your life. And will continue to evolve and change as you get older. And hopefully the same with your students, even if, whether they're on their mats or whether they're in a chair or whether they're, breathing with you or they're, wherever they are with you, that there is a calming centered presence that you have established that will be felt whether you're teaching them asana or not.
Can I read something? I just read for, it's a book, is the weak whole body, and at one point, they were talking to someone and they say, what do Buddhists believe? And then they're like, I feel like the question is not what do I believe, but what do I practice? Practices, both meditation and yoga are first and foremost practices. Practices set up context to find truth through your own experience.
Read the last part again. Read the whole thing again.
Both meditation and yoga are first and foremost practices. Practices set up context to find truth through your own experience.
To find truth through your own experience. First and foremost, a practice. And I know we say that all the time, and I know that you understand it's a practice, but it really is. And I think when we step into practice, there's so much that happens as adults especially that we think we need to be perfect at it, or we need to do it in just the right way. But there is a whole world of discovering what happens when you screw up or when you're misaligned, right? There's learning in that also. Okay? So, what else? Should we do some more poses like this? Like we've done before? Is that helpful?
Do you want to take a break?
Yeah, we can totally take a break.
I want you to do the adjustment thing.
A bio break?
Tell us
Yeah, definitely want to do
the safer.
Yeah.
Cool, yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
Take like 5 minutes, go to the bathroom, get water, whatevs. I don't know what time it is.
That's fine. Are you guys doing the classes too? Or are you three sitting in the back watching us while we are all doing each other's classes?
We are doing them with you.
That seems far less intimidating.
Yeah, no, but we pop down the email and
I
then
just, the three of you in the back with like clipboards and like mentally prepared.
we will have your rubric. I'll explain it.
Oh, yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah.
But like,
I was like, what are you saying, I think, yeah, because you're making sure of this X, Y, and Z.
I'll explain it.
Okay.
Should I ask Katrina, because before yesterday, I got rid of all my sheets, because I didn't have to do them. So now I need sheets again. Does she have those, or she said she would send me the PDFs.
Rosie, you got some more
here. Yeah.
She was tough.
Yeah.
I am not. Just like,
Well, I hadn't done any observations, I hadn't done any signatures,
So you're just not gonna worry about that?
No, I am now, but I only did this within the last 24 hours because of the conversation I had with Katrina.
And I love the idea that you're gonna do something different.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
And I think you're gonna be amazing at something like meditation.
yeah. Well, that's what she said, because most people don't do that, because I bet a lot of people love a general class in the middle of people are not doing that. You did it in your chairs, I don't know what I'm gonna do, because I just came up with this yesterday, because she taught me this today. So now I'm just like, okay, all this more situation. It's just like that first week.
She feels like she has to do that, and so everybody will just slack.
So like, I lost this today, so I was like, eh. But then she's like, you get this thing, so that's fine. So I figured, yeah. But for some reason, it really appeals to me to like, because I was talking to Reba about how her favorite class is for seniors.
Yes, she's still.
And I feel like I have this whole resistance against my mom right now, and it's really making me feel bad about myself and guilty. But I just can't. I don't want to be there. I am not going to be your nursemaid. Sorry. I mean, also a little bit more.
You're gonna just.
Exactly. I just would never do that to my child, but like maybe I can help you in this way. Like even if it's not you, it's other people like you.
And is she open to that?
Yeah, well, I haven't even talked to her about this, but I'm going to see her next week. And, I've never told her, I just told her, no, I will not.
I took a long heart medication and it's making me very, very sleepy.
Oh.
I was like looking at it, so like, sorry.
I am gonna tell my mom like why I feel like I, gonna have a heart to heart with her, why I'm coming to the table, why I'm so against like helping her, but I'd like to help her in these other ways. And now this is a strong interest to me, and like, it makes me feel better about it.
I know, you look like you were doing some potsy stuff, so I was just gonna say you water your deep.
That's exactly what I'm doing. See you running my Vegas here, that's why.
Yeah, okay, well, then you're doing what you need to do.
And I won't be doing.
I just check in.
Downward up for a while. So.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I know, I can see it because of Finn. Like, I always have that.
So I was at my phone, it was like 132.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yeah, that's it.
Oh. Yeah, when Tim and I took hers, just sitting at the doctor's office.
And
It
does the same. It's fine, it's not.
thank you.
This one just makes.
I have to ask her.
Do we need two of the like peer reviewed?
Yeah.
I mean, I haven't done anything. They were,
Oh.
Is that right?
Everybody just has one, but.
She was gonna print
Yeah, I'll
another one?
Well,
yeah.
We let her know.
Sorry.
You told her?
We told her yesterday.
Oh, okay.
But I'll just need you to
Like,
have.
she-
I can't
she
tell her
knows.
that I've been probably.
Yeah, let's
Those.
It's the first time.
Let me see if I can find another one and or does somebody have a blank one?
Yeah.
I can just copy it real quick.
What did I say for?
The
Red extra up here,
And I can
just copy, just make copies.
And I'll tell her.
Did you do this yet?
Yes. I did. I just need to check her comments and get some confirming.
That's fine.
Favorite.
So, yeah.
I'm gonna do hospice stuff this month, but I have to take an 8-hour like video training before I do it. And now the kids are gone, I can actually like sit down and do it.
Well, doing hospice training would be perfect for them.
Right.
Anyway,
I was-
right?
I was gonna do it, I just even know.
This stuff,
Yeah.
but I was like, this will give me a deadline to get started. But yeah, I wanna have more experience before I start doing it, to be honest.
Yeah.
I found a full hospice.
Was your grandma?
She was in hospice, we called it Jimmy Carter Hospice, she was in hospice for like 2.5 years. Because when you're over 100 and you have congestive heart failure, you definitely qualify for hospice no matter what. We used it to get her extra care. It got her a PT, it got her a massage, it got her a nurse that checked in twice a week.
Did she
it's
have long-term care insurance?
No, she
Okay.
has a daughter who did very well for herself.
Oh, okay, wasn't needed.
Right.
But
yeah.
was she buried or cremated?
Cremate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did
We
you get
got-
those back? You had them at your.
Oh, yeah.
thing?
But
Okay.
we buried them in Michigan. That's what I was thinking. We put
A plot.
postponed them.
Palmer.
First of all, put in the grave. And
I
we
didn't know
bought a
how to
lot of
pronounce.
flowers.
It's a palm.
And you forget that when it's just an urn, the whole like this is really.
All right, so your peer review, we can chat about that really quick. Your peer review, you have 2 of those. You will by the end of the day, because I'm making you copies for your other one right now,
Thank you.
okay?
Thanks,
So
Meredith.
that's what's gonna happen at your final, okay? So me and Katrina and Michael will all have one of those, and we'll be in the back, we'll be somewhere in your class, and you will be up here teaching everyone, right? The 3 of us included. And then every now and then, Katrina, Michael, and I will drop down and make notes, and we're just marking through. And this is not like, ooh, you fucked that up, or ooh, you're so bad, or whatever your mind makes up that we're writing, right? It's more like, wow, that was an awesome Dharma talk. Gosh, I loved how you did that one cue. Maybe think about adding your breath cues in a little stronger in this point, right? It's not a criticism. It is not a, you've done something wrong, right? It's most likely, whoa, you blew me away, that was amazing, right? And I will tell you, across the board, that's the experience, because we haven't heard you, for the most part, teach a lot of these things. So you're just out there in the world doing your thing, and then we get a chance to see it, and it's I would say, like, 9 times out of 10, like, awesome. So just putting that out there, okay? You're doing a half an hour class from the beginning to the end, and you can decide how you're gonna do that. If you want us to start seated and move through the first little bit of a sequence that you've created that you've been using for your hour, and we just get the half an hour, great. If you wanna do the end of that, that's also fine. If you wanna smack dab in the middle, right, that's also fine. It can be, okay, we're gonna stand in Tadasana. Inhale your arms overhead, exhale, fold forward. You give a little bit of your Dharma talk, maybe before you go into arms overhead and fold forward, but you don't have to start it seated like we always do. Most people do, because that's the easiest way, that's how we've taught you to give a Dharma talk and stuff, but if you're like, I don't wanna sit down, I've been sitting down, we've all been sitting down, and I'm gonna have us stand, I'm gonna give my Dharma talk with my hands in my heart. Great. You do a half an hour, and then you could quite literally like end it, you could do a whole class in that half an hour and end us in Shavasana. You could do just a snippet of your class and end us standing, right? You could just be like, and I'm done, right? Or we'll just end with Om, and then we all Om and we're done.
Are you okay?
Yeah. Okay. She fall?
She's oh, she's not good with us. She's, you're okay.
Does that make sense? You're going to use the book that you've been reading, hopefully you've been reading a book, a third book, right? And you're gonna take your Dharma talk like we did for the Bhagavad Gita, only now you're gonna do it with your book. This is the quote of my book, kind of like what you just read. If it's a quote, I would say read it a couple different times, because people like to hear it a couple different times. And then on your rubric, there's a little snippet there of like gets off the mat and walks around, right? Does an adjustment. So we'll move into that here, okay? So I think that's it on the rubric, is walks around and gives an adjustment. That's like holding space. That just means like, even if you had us in Warrior 2 and we opened to the blue wall, that you walked off of your mat and went over to the side, that would count. Boom, check, okay?
Not that we're doing an adjustment to a body.
Well, actually, on here number 11, it says, and demonstrate off the mat or give physical adjustment at least once.
Correct.
So either or.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, either or. Either or. Mhm. Yeah.
Just in case.
This is where
Close
everyone's
someone's
like
back or-
perfectionist student comes out.
I
This
just
is where,
sound like such an old lady or everyone's mom.
no, it's across the board, everybody kind of worries about this piece because it means something to you guys, and I know it means something to you. We all know it means something to you. And I just want you to know that we're not sitting there, grading like you're in grade school. It's more like, gosh, that was awesome, or your voice is projected so well, or I love that word that you used, or that guided imagery was awesome. Just stuff like that just fills you up. Okay, we're here to fill you up, not tell you what you did wrong. And then at the end will be, maybe you work on a sequence just a little bit more, or maybe we could put Warrior 2 instead of triangle, or whatever. Okay? You feel good on that, on your peer review? So that's what you're gonna start doing this next time, is really start like teaching your classes a little bit more. How do we feel about cueing? Okay, it's really just the art of doing it, and you'll get a chance to like chat through that this afternoon here in a little bit. We'll do that also, okay? So you'll get those, and again, those just come in time. We're doing how many cues per posture? 3 to 5, right. This also brings me to like our transitions, because we haven't touched on that yet. But transitions really are just speaking through from one pose to another. So if I were going from seated to tabletop, what do I need to know?
Shoulder over wrist.
Mm-hmm.
Hips over knees,
Mm-hmm.
fingers spread wide.
Mm-hmm.
Neutral spine.
Mm-hmm. What if I'm going from warrior 1 to plank pose? First of all, what's my breath?
Exhale, down, put your hands down on the ground.
Mm-hmm. Exhale.
Yeah, step your left leg
Inhale,
back
step
to
your
your
right
right.
back.
Inhale, step your foot back.
Nice flat spine. Engage core to lift up out of your wrists. Gaze is down. Like
Grip
those.
with your fingers.
Good.
Push through your feet.
And then how do you get me from here? Let's say we're going to downward dog.
Pull your hips up and back into downward dog.
Yeah.
Inhale here, exhale.
Awesome. Inhale, hips high, right? Okay, what if I'm gonna come to the top of my mat?
Inhale,
Inhale.
and then
Come up on your toes.
look up, exhale, hop to your front step down.
Yeah. So you can inhale, lift up, that's fine. You could, what you're gonna do is inhale to get that lift, and then exhale, have them walk, step, or jump all the way up. Eventually, it's the exhale that gets them to the top of the mat, right? If I'm transitioning from forward fold to halfway lift, what do I do?
Inhale,
Halfway out.
To a flat spine.
Awesome.
exhale,
Hands
Exhale. Fold forward, right? Bend, dive, hinge, release, any of those words, right? And then what from forward fold to standing?
Inhale your arm.
Inhale,
Arms overhead.
Arm by your biceps.
Yeah.
Bend your-
And
biceps,
by your
by
ears.
ears.
Just
chest
extend
down,
it.
sweat in your gut.
What?
Hands return in front, chest down, sweat in your gut.
There you go. You know these in and out and through and through. You just have to practice speaking them. That's all.
It's
Okay.
It's some stuff.
Samastihi. Samastihi. One of those.
It sounds so natural, but then I start saying it, I start second guessing myself.
Yeah.
Would it be someone's DT
Can
or
you
someone's
say it again?
Either one.
Right.
Yes.
What's that, what is it? Samastiti.
My teacher says samastiti. And everyone else says samastitihi.
Is it your teacher, Katrina's teacher?
No, Rod Stryker says samastiti.
How would
And
you?
what does Katrina say?
Samastitihi.
It's in the phonetics in here.
6 to 1.
Samastiti.
6 to 1, half dozen to the other. Yeah, it's a Sanskrit. It's a
Bring your
Sanskrit.
hands together and it hurts.
Out of your heart's
Uh-huh.
I can say that. So are we gonna have a chance to do our peer review in class, or we need to do that outside of class?
So I would say plan to do at least one outside of class. We have in the past had the opportunity to do it together, but I don't want to guarantee that we have that for you. Okay, I know at least we can do, you can do one with us. So make sure you do one outside of here. And then I'll let you know as we get closer, because what is this? This is your last one, and then we have a weekend in the week, right?
Yeah.
Ay.
And Katrina said we were doing our classes the first 3 days, so that's why.
Monday,
it's
we could
me.
do Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Yeah, Monday.
Yeah.
What do we do?
We
Oh,
may-
Wednesday, the weekend.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we
Thursday you graduate.
all day, and then.
Okay.
It's a big deal.
Okay.
Yeah, so that Saturday, Sunday, we might have time for you to do at least one peer review, but I would say get one done in this next little bit, okay? Any other transitions that we can go over? I mean, they seem fairly simple for me at least, but I don't know how that experience is for you. What if I do warrior 2 to triangle?
Straighten your front leg.
And do I inhale or exhale?
Yeah, inhale.
Inhale, straighten the leg.
Exhale,
Exhale, reach forward
reach forward as far.
and revolve.
Inhale here and exhale.
And-
Tick-tock your
Yeah.
arms.
Mhm. So here's the way, where is my hand going?
Towards the mat. Down.
Yeah, down to
Your
where?
leg.
To my shin. Right. TikTok is good, that's fine, but if we want to specify it a little bit more, take your hand to your shin. Now there's no mistaking where my hand is supposed to go. Right? TikTok can be like, if I'm just gonna look around to see what other people do. right? I know that's a common thing people say, and so that's why it's not like bad or wrong. But again, if you were out in the world and you were teaching someone who had no idea what that meant, right? I want to get you to a place where it's like, okay, you're going to extend your arm forward, take your hand to your shin, lift the opposite arm to the sky, right? Clear as day. No one can mistake what that means, right? So then what's like a refining cue for this?
Align your hips.
Uh-huh. So how am I aligning my
Bring
hips?
your right hip forward and your left hip back.
Yeah, very good. How would I do that? Anyone, not just Meredith.
Rotate your inner front thigh.
Uh-huh. Which direction?
Forwards,
Uh-huh.
towards the wall.
That would be the other way.
Oh,
That way?
No, the other way.
That way.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And then the inner thigh of your back leg out. Which I don't know how to say. But that would be like.
She did it.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I know, but this is what you're doing your practice for. What do you do in your body, right? How I refine this posture for me is, yes, I hear you on your hips, but how I'm going to get there is from my core. So as I'm here in my posture, what I'm going to do is address my core center, which will pull my tailbone under, which will open this hip. Right? It will also draw this left hip under, which is what you're driving at. So rather than addressing inner thighs, I would go to core. Okay?
Would you say inhale, pull your core in, or not even?
I would say exhale, pull your
okay.
core in. Okay? I would say inhale, lengthen your spine. Exhale, draw the navel in. And now as you draw navel in, feel left hip scoop under, right hip open. That's probably about 4 cues, done. That's all I'm going to say about here because they're probably done anyway. And then how do we get back up to stand?
I exhale.
I
It would
exhale,
be-
pull your core in.
But inhale is what
Inhale.
You exhale and come up?
I do because I engage
I
my
do
core
too.
when I exhale.
Yeah.
And it's easier to do that. But this would be inhale, the way they were teaching this.
Yeah. Correct. I would teach you to inhale to come up. I would say stay one more exhale breath, keep your core engaged, inhale, rise back up to stand, right? So I get where you're at, but I would refine it a little bit more because you want the inhale to come through here to lift you back up. So you're not lifting necessarily from here, you are supporting from here, but lifting through here, back up to stand. Does that make sense? Okay. And then, like, what else?
Can I talk about Can you talk about the cue of thread the needle for somebody who's new and hasn't done yoga before?
Uh-huh.
Like you're opening your arm to the sky and then I would say thread the needle, but some people don't know
Yeah.
what that is, so.
Yeah, totally. So here's how I figured that out, quite literally, you guys. I would go, okay, what am I doing? And I would say, if I didn't have anything, I wouldn't say anything about open my arm. I would say, take your right hand to the sky.
Yeah.
So there's no mistaking what open my arm means, right? I know what open my arm means. Y'all know what open your arm means, but because you know also what thread the needle is,
Yeah.
right? But if I don't have anybody, I'm gonna make it as clear as day. Take your right hand and reach it to the sky. There's not much you can misinterpret there, right? Now to bring your hand through, what I say is take an inhale. Now exhale, draw your arm through, and I've even gotten myself caught in through your hand and your knee, which is a lot of words. So this is where your demonstration can come in. So you're standing there, inhale the arm to the sky. Now exhale, draw your arm through, set your right shoulder to the floor. So you're gonna think of, even if their shoulder can't come all the way to the floor, that's the main action. Does that make sense? How have you guys said it?
I have it.
Okay, so using your right towards instead of put it on the floor is better.
Yeah. Towards, depending on the pose, right? Reach your right shoulder toward the floor. right, is gonna allow for it to not have to touch all the way to the floor. Because what if I get here and I'm like, but I can't put my shoulder on the floor? What do I do then?
Yeah.
Right, so you can say, I would say, reach your right arm to the sky, exhale, draw it through, and as I'm saying it, I would pop down onto the floor and do it with them. So I'm showing them. And then I would say, reach through your right hand and set it there. Now pause. If your shoulder can come to the floor, great. If it can't, that's fine. Take an inhale breath. Then I would point out what the posture is doing. What is thread the needle doing? Stretching the shoulder.
Spiral twist.
It's a spinal twist. Those are the main actions of the pose. So that's what I'm going to emphasize in the posture. Regardless of how deep somebody can get in, they can stretch their shoulder and they can twist their spine, right? It's just going to be, you're going to have to be careful of the weight that's on the arm that's holding it all. And that will depend on who you've got in front of you. So again, 3 to 5 breaths. And if you're like, these people, I can only do 3, challenge them. They'll start shaking. They'll be like, what are you doing? Take one more inhale, one more exhale, and then you come out of the pose. Lift your arm back up to the sky and set it on the ground. When they know there's one more breath, they're like, I can do it, right?
My question was about breathing. You personally tend to have a longer breath cycle. Some people have shorter ones. How do you figure out what the breath cycle that is appropriate for the class is?
Good question.
I really struggle with that because I have a longer one.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. I feel like if we do
So,
mistakes.
This
It'll
is
probably be
where-
less than yours because you're seasoned.
Yes, this is where you emphasize that they are to pay attention to their breath, right? So you're gonna set the pace as far as where your breath is, and then you watch and you observe. And when you're ready, when you're not, like wherever you are in your breath, that's why it's not really your practice that's happening up here.
Yeah.
You can do those things, but you're attuned to what their breath is doing, right? Always. And then you would say, if you notice they're all over the board, just say, on your next inhale, lift back up. Exhale and fold forward when you're ready. Listen to your breath and fold forward on your exhale. They'll still fold forward on your exhale. They'll still fold forward in the middle of an inhale, but at least you're planting the seed that they are to be listening and paying attention to their breath first and foremost.
And if people are not doing auditory breaths and are really, really quiet, is there a specific place you look to see if they're breathing correctly?
Yeah, their lungs.
Well,
Like
so
the
here,
lower
like
lungs.
lower lungs is
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, their rib cage. I would watch their ribs.
Okay.
Here's another thing, is that I get it, people love to breathe loudly. But that's not always an indication that it's right. This might not be a popular point of view, but it's my point of view. And it's what I've been taught, is the quieter your mind is, the quieter your breath is. What I mentioned today is people were quiet. That doesn't necessarily mean that they're out of balance. It just means there's more introspectivity going on. When I hear these people, and I know you've heard them in class, sigh and make all these noises, there's benefit to that. But there's also a pattern that you get in that you're used to then just hearing noise every time you breathe. Just one strategy. But really, the quieter the mind gets, the quieter the breath gets, till it's almost inaudible. That's just a matter of internalization. So what I'm trying to get people to do is get quieter with their breath, to be honest with you. But it's very hard to also do that when the opposite is also being taught and there's nothing wrong with the opposite. Does that make sense? So there are some things you're just gonna have to let go. Some people's alignment, right? Some people's focus and attention. Think a long game, right? The long game. We're here for the long game. And so it's all right if like for the first 3 years, all I can do is listen to you moan as you breathe through your practice. And then I will layer in every now and then, the quieter your breath gets, the quieter your mind is. And then it starts to, and they're like, oh, oh, my breath should be quiet. Then we go, oh, it's not supposed to be so loud, because we're taught when we first come, Ujjayi creates that sound, the sound drowns everything out, yeah. And then it doesn't have to be drowned out because it's quiet. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So you're also managing who is, like, where everybody is at. And not everybody is ready for the breath to be super quiet. Not everybody knows that that's the goal. It's not everyone's goal either. Does that make, that's the tricky part.
Yeah, some classes are real, like sound-based and verbal and lots of things.
Right, which is awesome for, on some level with what you're trying to get to. There's some healing in the vibration that happens there. And what I'm saying is there's also healing in a time, in a place that's quiet, where there's not so much noise and expression and vibration happening. The vibration gets a little more subtle. So now it depends, like, which are you wanting to highlight at any point in time? Right? I want to hear people start to breathe, because then I know it's expanding their capacity a little bit. Sometimes they're quiet, yes, they're introspective, but that's not always like building prana either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there's a little bit of both things going on. I don't know if this is making this any clearer for you guys. I hope so, but there's, okay, good. There's so many, like, it's such an individuated thing that it's hard to guide you through every individuated moment, right? But we know that using props can be incredibly helpful. Why? To access people to their breath, right? Even if they're like seated in a chair. Now it becomes, what do I do if someone can't even get on the floor? That's like a whole other animal in and of itself, and we can talk about that. But if you ever, like, I've done it in a chair. I was intimidated for so long to teach people in a chair, and then I was like, oh, it's actually really cool. You can do so many cool things. You just have them extend their leg and do their feet and rotate around and lift their arms and do little twists and things like that. And then I actually get them up off the chair and move their hips around a little bit. You know, they have the chair there for balance. So there's all sorts of different ways that you can take it. It's just about how you adapt what you know to what the person is in front of you, what they're needing. And again, I can't run you through every scenario of that. You just have to practice. And you have to be willing to make a mistake. It's not like you're not going to make such a mistake that that you'll hurt somebody, right? You just make enough of a mistake where you're like, ooh, next time this is more efficient. Next time I want to do that instead of this, or that didn't work so well, or, you know, they were confused.
There'll be plenty of those things that happen.
Sure. Yeah. But there'll be also plenty of times where it's super crystal clear and everyone will know. Okay. Anything else? I mean, okay. So let me show you some adjustments, some cool things that you can do to give people love, all right? And the first one I'd like to have you start in child's pose. And maybe Katie, since you're almost there, can you come into child's pose and I'll show on your body, if you don't mind, if I have your permission. So I see someone in child's pose. And first what I'm gonna do, just to kind of help them, this is one of those adjustments that's like fairly innocuous. I mean, you are like behind them. And it can, if you push too hard, be intense on their knees and their ankles. You're just gonna put your hand on the back of their pelvis and then just kind of press their hips down towards the floor. Now, I'm not like shoving all my weight. I'm putting one hand down and then my other hand on top and I'm kind of pulling back and then pressing down. Now I'm with her, notice my stance, right? My body is supported, my knees are bent, my core is engaged, so I'm not like hurting myself for her posture. How does it feel? Good. Could I go more, less?
You go a little bit more.
A little bit more. Take a breath in. And a breath out. This is where you watch. Now you sync everyone up to this pose, right? I'm with her, but I'm also watching everyone else around me, right? Now the other option here, you can stay right here, or if you like, you can put one hand here and slide your other hand up their spine and kind of massage the back of their shoulders. And I'll tell you, nobody will be sad about that.
I forgot Beth did that like last time we were here, and I was like, oh my god.
Okay. So why don't you find a friend or pop into that pose and do this with each other, as long as you're okay.
Say I wanna do it.
So 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. So you just go in twos right next to each other.
Wait, Lisa, can you show me your hands?
Yeah, so I'll walk you through. So your person comes onto their knees and into child's pose. Take your hand, now one of the things, sorry, child's pose, come up for a second, I have to say, is your hands are healing instruments, right? So first, when you go into adjustments, the intent is not that you're fixing or changing them, right? That you are simply there to help direct energy so that it flows through them like however it's going to flow through them, okay? You are not correcting, you are not fixing. They're not doing anything wrong, okay? The other thing is that in order to not be handsy, you're going to do your Barbie hands. So this is what we talk about it as, Barbie hands. You're not getting all your fingers in there, you're not like, right? You just Barbie hands, okay? And you're translating to them, I love you and I support you and I'm not here to hurt you and take advantage in any way, shape, or form, okay? So your Barbie hands, one goes, so now come into child's pose. One hand goes towards, fingers out, and then you'll stand behind them, and then put your other hand on top, and press down and drop back a little bit and have them breathe as you do. Now feel into their body, and as you push down on the back of their pelvis, notice where they resist. And then ask for feedback. Is this okay? More, less? Okay, yeah, and then if you want to slide their hand down their spine, choose one hand to stay at the back of their pelvis, slide the other one down their spine to their shoulders, and massage with your Barbie fingers.
The less Barbie though.
Yeah, they're less like grippy, more just I'm helping you relax and let go. Okay, and then you would just take an inhale, breathe with them here. Do one more inhale, one more exhale. And then release and come back up out of the posture. Good, and then they can come out of the pose. And I meant to ask, are you guys cool with working with Brad and Matt, or would you like them to? Mark, God.
No, it's fine.
I know you do.
I know you.
Wait, this is my character.
Are we okay with that? I didn't mean to put you guys on the spot, but.
No problem.
Okay, good. So then switch. Sorry.
Is it like on the sacrum? Or just
Yes.
on the-
So right on the back of their sacrum, one hand goes one direction. The other one goes the other direction, just like that. Good.
Yeah, you're really good. Perfect, thank you. Yeah.
That's good.
Is that good?
It's hard to know. Yeah.
You kind of spidey sense into their body. What is, are they resisting anywhere? Are they not? And then if you want to run one hand down their spine, put one hand on the back of their sacrum and run your hand down their spine. And then up towards their shoulders and give a little massage of the shoulders. Keep your hands rooted on their pelvis.
It tickles.
I mean, not to
Just
be.
like,
Breathe in and out. And then step away, right? You don't need to stay super long. You just go in, do the adjustment, and then carry on. Okay, and then your friend can give feedback.
That's
Good?
Yeah.
Good, cool. Okay.
So if you feel like coming back,
You're not gonna ask every single person you want more, or you do, or like, I guess, or you do more,
Yeah,
or
'cause I
just
do
look for
everything.
reaction. This is
So-
why you don't.
Well, no, this is why it's tricky to do it, is because what's the feedback? So this is good for everyone. So Katie's asking, well, how do you know? Like, are you gonna ask them for feedback right there? Or what are you gonna do? Because you're in the middle of a class. You have to use a little bit of your intuition and sense what's happening in the person's body that you're with. So you are with them, but you're also aware of what else is going on. Okay, so you could say very well with somebody, you could be like, is this enough? Does it feel okay? You could quietly say that to them.
Okay.
Or what I do is just feel, right? Feel into where there's resistance. You can, for the most part, probably go more than you think you can. That was a little bit my point when I said, how is the pressure? Could I go a little bit more? And you were like, yeah. For the most part, you can practice this now with one another, but for the most part, people will say, go a little bit more, right? What you want to do is find that line between like too much and not enough, right? And I don't know how to tell you to find that.
It's just vibes.
Other than you feel, other than you start to feel. These aren't just like something you're gonna make people do stuff with, but you're receptive here. It's like, okay, just try, where's the place? And you'll feel it. It's pretty obvious when they start
If they
resisting.
don't like it,
If
yeah.
they don't like it, you can tell when you walk near them if they don't want you to touch them.
Like
And
an
then-
older person, like.
Yeah. If you're worried about it and you're not sure, just do it right up front. And I would have them put them in a place usually where they can't see, like in child's pose, and have them flip their hands up and down, or in downward dog, or somewhere where they're not looking at everyone, because lots of times people will do it just because other people are doing it. Oh, we're all supposed to want adjustments, right? No, you're supposed to tell me if you want an adjustment. Right, so you can have them close their eyes, raise their hand.
I had a teacher once that she would give us little cards.
Yeah.
And you could flip them very quietly, yes or no, and so no one had to see your card, but she could see your card.
There's little ways like that you can do. But you can also just announce at the beginning of practice, I'd really like to give some adjustments. These adjustments are to help deepen the pose for you if you would like that. I'll ask you in a minute if I have your permission to do that. And then just put them in a place where they can't look around at everybody and you say thumbs up or down. Okay? So child's pose is probably, that's a really good place to do an adjustment. The other one would be downward facing dog pose. So Maggie, will you do downward dog for me? Okay. It's a very similar adjustment to child's pose. You're gonna come to the top of the mat. Okay, you're gonna put one hand to the back of her sacrum like this, and you're gonna push, and then your other hand can come on top of this hand and you'll push. The other way you can do is both hands to the back, so you notice my hands are not touching her. My fingers are not, right? It's the base of my hands. Notice where my stance is, nice and wide. The other option, I'll show you, is to have your foot here and one foot back, and then you push into their body, okay? Same thing with child's pose, you can do this and slide your hand down their spine, maybe give them a little rub on their forearm or their upper arms, especially if they're tense right here, or even tug a little on the back of their head to drop down. Okay? So you can try that guy now.
That's way less creepy than the other way I've had people. Because I've had people where they come behind and they pull your hips back, and with some teachers, that's totally fine, but like if you don't know someone.
Yeah.
No,
That's
a guilty one.
That's insane.
Yeah, that's a little.
So what?
I'm a little sexual. I even do that.
So downward dog, have your friend do downward dog. Okay.
They would come up.
So you have that foot right here.
Now, does that, it
Yeah.
feels great. But
So you're like, this is parallel. Push this down.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Right, so go ahead towards
That's the open spine learning.
Yeah.
Let me just try it.
This one's better.
Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah.
So you can say there's a little longer. There you go, good, Katie. Yeah, just feel into their body, right? And imagine that their body is your body. And what would you like? Right? You would want someone to be there with you the whole time, right? Mhm. Okay, maybe give them one more breath in, one more breath out, and then switch people. And give feedback, how was it?
Yeah, it's great. It's like, but I slide it in a way that I can work for it.
Especially with women to
Get space to it. So,